who would ever be second. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Mike Parsons has really slowed down, and I was just talking to them, and they were saying they're trying to make sure you get him back on track, to make sure he holds his contain, because, hey, he's been going after them sacks too. You know what I'm saying? So don't think they don't see that competition on the one side. But no, Bosa has earned it. He's the clear defensive MVP. I don't even know who rivals that. Who's the closest, and I don't know who's ever gotten the most votes. But I'm sure he'll be up there this year.
We got the Cowboys going on Monday night. Oh, that means we get to preview Cowboys with you on Monday before it kicks off, if we do talk to you next Wednesday. All right, man. There it is.
I bet you folks are glad to be done with your shopping. Hopefully, all your gifts went well. But there's one last store to visit, this time just for yourself. Your chance to get one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony TVs at a crazy low price. Where? At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. A great way to end the year. If you don't check out these deals at Video Only, you'll be sorry.
The Manufacturers RV Show is back. See hundreds of RVs from dealers all over the West Coast. Don't miss the 34th Annual Manufacturers RV Show at the Alameda County Fairgrounds in Pleasanton, January 21st through the 29th.
Kirby is your driveway mechanic. They bring the shop to you with brake replacements, oil changes, washes, and so much more. Get $50 off your first oil change with code OIL50 at Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com and use code OIL50.
Come into Friedman's Appliance and see the full line of Fisher & Paykel appliances. Experience them in person in live vignettes, including their famous dish drawer dishwasher and unique sizes of refrigeration designed to fit seamlessly into your kitchen space. Fisher & Paykel products deliver perfect results with exceptional design and performance. And for a limited time, receive up to a $2,000 rebate when you purchase a qualifying Fisher & Paykel kitchen package from Friedman's Appliance. Visit Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill or online at friedmansappliance.com.
What is the most random thing you are afraid of?
I am terrified of getting a paper cut on my eyeball.
That is pretty random. I'm Larry Mullins, the host of a new podcast, Your Weirdest Fears, where we dig into the weird, the wacky, the things that keep you up at night, and learn how to survive them. Listen and subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Listen to Steiny, Dibs, and Goo from 10 to 2. Hell yeah!
I'll never forget opening day as a 12-year-old. Fly ball to left, Dave Williamson, God love him, slam right in the face, broke his glasses. Of course, I was pissed that he didn't make the play. No sympathy for the injury.
SOFT.
Actually, he was a tough guy.
You stay in the game?
No, but he wore goggles the rest of the year. Those are facts.
Listen to Steiny, Guru, and Dibs on 95.7 The Game and the Odyssey app. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
And off we go. Larry Krueger and Lo Neal from the Santa Clara Hilton on 95.7 The Game. And it is playoff time, Lo. The 49ers are 13-4. And today at Levi's, we get the NFC wildcard game, the 49ers and the Seahawks. The winner moving on, the losers going home. It's the 50th edition of this matchup. They kick it off at 1:30, the first of 6 NFL playoff games going this weekend. Good to see you, man.
Hey, it's great to see you. It's simple, Larry. It's win or go home. The playoffs are here. And that, for me, I always get that extra energy. Playoffs, it's like, you and I are talking before the show. You're like, hey, Lo, you know what? God, we're going to have to hurry up and get there. God, I want to be there and get situated. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, because it's the playoffs. Isn't it crazy? Even the fans, we feel it, Larry. It's awesome.
Oh, it is game day, and people are doing it right now. First things first. Okay. Listening to 95.7 The Game. Stop by. We're here at the Santa Clara Hilton. Great party going on. We're brought to you by Harris Ranch Beef. And
beef is awesome.
And Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey. But we should also remind everybody, it was a hairy drive for me, at least coming down from Walnut Creek to Santa Clara. So there's a lot of water on the road. There's been a lot of rain this morning. There was already a number of spin outs.
Yeah, so it's bad.
People, take your time. Right. Go slow. Listen to 95.7 The Game.
There you go.
We'll take you right towards kickoff. And trying to, the one thing that you can't have, you can't celebrate. People are already offering us shots. I'll take a shot. Come on over here. But I would say, you can't have a great time at the playoff game if you don't make it to the playoff game, right?
You're absolutely right. And it's great, Larry, that you want people to be safe and drive safe, because it is. I saw, heading over, turned over cars and people were, the rain. So definitely, guys, just take it easy. Get here. You're going to get here, be safe, and let's go win. Let's go Niners.
Go slow, get here safe, and watch the 49ers beat the Seahawks and move on to the next round. All right, we got a lot to get to. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to be here till 1:30, kickoff slated for 1:30. Eric Davis is going to stop by. We're going to let you hear some of that conversation with David and Rado. Robbie Gold. I caught up with Robbie Gold.
Love Robbie.
In the locker room this week, and Robbie Gold is gold. He's had an 18-year career. I'm thinking to myself, man, that's Lo Neal territory. You had 16 years, 18 years for Robbie Gold.
Yeah, you're 17. I was like one of those cows you take out to the pasture and you say, all right, buddy, you did good. I was with the Raiders. You're 17, ripped the ham off the bone. It was like, all right, buddy, just go get at it. And every time I see Gold, I said, man, fake it till you make it, baby. He said, yep, they're going to have to kick me out. I don't blame him. And when you're a kicker or whatever position you are and you're playing in this game, and you're a grown man playing a kid's game, getting a king's ransom, and you get to play a game that you love, and the opportunity's there to still for you to compete. That's why I love Tom Brady. Play it. Oh, man, you get older. You know what? There's a lot of guys that are older that played this game and doesn't have a lot of injuries. There's a lot of guys that played it, only played 2 years and got more injuries in it. So you just got to understand what you sign up for and enjoy it, because you can never go back, Larry. You know that.
Well,
never can.
And the thing is, I knew the rain was coming, right? We've been all talking about it all week long. Oh, the storm. So you know what? A game like this is probably going to come down to a kick. So I wanted to get with Robbie and get his thoughts on a day like today in, kicking in conditions. This guy kicked most of his career in Chicago.
Chi-town.
So he's used to wind and rain and snow. And so I asked him about his whole routine. Does he change anything up? What does he try to do on a rainy day? So we're going to hear all that dialogue.
It's going to be an awesome interview
Later on, coming up with Robbie Gold. Robbie Gold, by the way, on the year, 27 of 32 on field goals. That's 84%. 50 of 51 on PATs. 131 points, fifth most in the NFL. And he's got the 8th most field goals in history. 447 field goals. Number 1 on the list.
Wow. Not Morton Anderson.
Morton Anderson's number 2.
Okay.
Number 1, Vinatieri.
Yes, Adam
Vinatieri.
So Morton, me and him go back. I was with Morton Anderson in New Orleans with the Saints. I love Morton Anderson. Then he went over to Atlanta and started kicking there. But Morton Anderson, great guy, man. They look, he's, where's he from?
Timeless, too.
Yeah, timeless, absolutely timeless. Australian guy, just a great guy. But yeah, man, this is going to be an interesting game, because with the weather, and you heard Pete Carroll. This is that butter of game that Pete Carroll. We got in, but we're playing the Niners. This is that game they want to see if they can lull the Niners to sleep. They want to keep it close, and they're going to try to strike at the end. It's going to be interesting just to see how it plays off, because like you said, the weather, the feel, all the track is not as fast as it is. So it's going to be interesting just to see how this game plays out.
Well, and we know the way this is going to go. It's going to be elation or devastation. right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's just kind of the way football is at this time of the year. The 49ers are either going to win and move on to the next round and have their Super Bowl hopes still alive, and the whole story continues, or it's going to be a colossal loss. People will be pointing the finger.
Oh, man.
Shanahan's this, Lynch is that. This guy's got to go. Where's Trey? Worry about Jimmy. Purdy sucks. You know what I mean? The whole thing's going to unravel. It's all pending the outcome of today. So I wanted to ask you about the burden of expectations, because you know what? Last year the 49ers rolled into the playoffs. They didn't have that burden of expectations, and they still found a way to get one step from the Super Bowl. This year, they've won 10 in a row.
Yeah.
They've won 10 in a row by a wide margin.
Yeah.
They're 13-4. They're nearly double-digit favorites today.
Yeah.
There's the burden of expectations, and crazy things happen in the NFL playoffs. So what do you think, Lo? I mean, what is the difference playing having that burden as opposed to just letting it all hang out and playing loose?
Yeah, I think when you look at today, you're absolutely right. You're in a situation where the burden is on you. The burden, like they say, innocent until proven guilty. You're innocent. You're the Niners, and you've been through this. Last year was kind of like the train that the train to keep, I think I can, and start building momentum because it got in the playoffs. They got in the playoffs, and you said, what is this team going to do? And all of a sudden, week 1, they win. Week 2, you get to the NFC Championship, you're like, oh my God, I think I can. So it was one of those oh my moments that you said, darn it. You beat the Rams. You win in the Super Bowl. Last year, Niners beat them. Some kind of way they find a way to win. They win that Super Bowl. So I think last year was that I think I can moment. This year is that moment where they're like, no letdowns.
Yeah.
This year, I think it's more, they struggled early. So it was great. And now they're in, and I think they're focused. I think that they're in, and I think now you see the team like, hey, guys, how many of us here? Fred, Bosa, all you guys, we've been here. How long have we been here?
Yeah.
We've been to one Super Bowl, NFC Championship, and we never gotten over. Are we going to get over the mountaintop? And it starts today, Larry. It starts today.
I mean, experience is a factor for the 49ers, too. They have experience.
Yeah.
This is not an inexperienced football team. 14 of the 49ers have started multiple playoff games. 3 of them have started playoff games for another team, and that's of their 23 starters. So they got lots and lots of playoff experience for sure. All right, a couple things to me that are primary questions for this team as they enter into this postseason tournament, if you want to call it that. The question number 1, can the 49er pass defense stand up? They really gave up a lot of big pass plays and had some questionable plays down the field where their corner and their safeties were out of position. Can their pass defense hold up? And it's really tied to the second question is, can the 49ers produce a big pass rush when it matters most? And that's a big, to me, that's going to be a question going into Philly if they can get into that game. But that's a question today. Can they rush the passer, move Geno Smith off his spot, and somehow cover DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett down the field?
Yeah, today's a day where the 49ers can't let a lot of broken plays happen. You're absolutely right, Larry. You're calling it like it is, an ace, spade is spade. The 49ers have played okay. They played all right. Defensively, they haven't played great. Let's be honest. The Raiders, you didn't play great. Last week, you didn't play great. Now, great is, I'm not talking about getting 20 sacks or 10 sacks. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking making the quarterback uncomfortable. You have to go ahead and start putting up more pressure. You got to really, last couple of weeks, it hasn't just been that stellar, that Niner 4 front, those 4 down 4 that get after you, the front 5, whatever they decide to do. It hasn't been there the last couple of weeks. I want to see them dial it up. The secondary has taken up, has been leaking a little bit, has taken some plays down the field, have let some things get over the head. Starting off early, letting the team, last week get a touchdown on the first play of the game, a little razzle-dazzle.
A.J. Green. That was a terrible gaffe by both Lenore and the safety.
It really was. So you got to get off the plane, or you're not on the plane, so you're at home. You got to get to that stadium and say, just because we're at home and we've earned the right to play in the playoffs, we got to start fast. We can't be making mistakes. And so, like you said, it's going to be interesting because Seattle is going to be predicated on Geno Smith, broken plays, how many times we can break a play and somebody make a play downfield. They're going to have some scramble, and that's where the Niners got to hammer guys and close guys, and they got to try to keep them in the pocket. Do not let Geno Smith get outside and try to be dangerous. Don't let him have that type of day. Keep him in there, make his plays in that phone booth.
Yeah, I mean, DK Metcalf is probably going to be, locked up with Charvarius Ward, but Can the Niners defend Tyler Lockett? Lockett is the master of route running. He's got great ball skills. He's a great route runner. He'll give you 2 and 3 moves. The question is, can the Niners put enough heat up front where that second and third move to lose Lenore is ineffective because the rush has gotten there first? Now, the other question I think that has to be answered today is, I think, in a game like this, in conditions like this, every back is different. You were a back, so I want to talk to you about this. Some guys are mutters.
Right.
If you go to the racetrack have you ever gone out to the racetrack and the sky's open and the rain's falling? Man, there's always a couple gamblers there who are just like, they get real excited. Why? Because then it comes down to which horse is a good mutter.
Yep.
And I think in horse racing, it has to do with the size of the hoof.
Yes.
And so you kind of, instead of digging in deep like peanut butter, you kind of skate along the top.
Yeah.
And I can think of a couple guys that come to mind as great mutters. Green Bay Packers had one for years, Edgar Bennett.
Edgar B.
Now, there's no real reason that Edgar Bennett should have been a good mutter. He played at Florida State, but he played in bad weather in college. He played in Florida, but he had this incredible running style, and he could just stay on top of the surface. He was awesome.
He was.
I'll give you one for the
Curtis
Niners.
Martin?
Curtis Martin's a good one.
Good mutter.
Good mutter. I'll give you one for the Niners. He was a. I don't want to say he was an ordinary player, but he wasn't a superstar back. But he was really good in the mud. Amp Lee.
Amp Lee? I loved Amp Lee.
Remember Amp Lee, another Florida State guy.
Yeah, the airport. I mean, he loved the route running Florida State, the way that Amp Lee ran the best little routes. He's just so smooth. He would always have a good base, and he could make it. Yeah, I love him. He was a good mutter.
Amp Lee was really good.
That's a good call.
But find your mutter. Now, we know Shanahan wants to hand the ball to McCaffrey. McCaffrey's the star. He's the guy.
Right.
But you know what? You don't know how any of these guys are going to handle the conditions. So you come out and you see who looks the best between TDP and Mitchell and McCaffrey and Mason. And, Tevin Coleman technically could be active today. Debo, how he's handling things.
Right.
Ray McLeod told me this week, he said, Krug, I'm a lifelong running back. He goes, I asked him about playing running back. He said, I've been a running back my whole life. So Ray feels comfortable, in the backfield as a running back. So find which guy, and the Niners have a bunch of options today. It's probably going to be McCaffrey, but you may want to find out who's the guy to go with McCaffrey.
Right.
Based on what I saw last week, and let's get to last week, the 49ers got another win, their 10th in a row. Based on what I saw last week, the 49ers have a lot of different options running the ball, but Mitchell went for 11 yards per carry last week. Well, I think Elijah Mitchell's primed to be right there with Christian McCaffrey, the 1A to his 1, in the Niner backfield. I'm expecting a big second half from Elijah Mitchell tonight.
Me too. I think I look at these guys like Ezekiel. You see what they have in Dallas, those two-headed monster, not saying Mitchell's, that comparable to McCaffrey, but Mitchell can run. And like you said, he's great in between tackles. He's shifty. He can make guys miss. You can throw the ball out to him on the perimeter. He runs great routes. I like what Mitchell brings to the game. Makes moves, spins, runs hard. I like to see this two-headed monster, and I think they will have success. You do got to try to establish this run because you know what Seattle's going to do. I think that a lot of people think San Francisco is that team that used to just going to go 4 yards in a cloud of dust. I think Seattle's going to try to slow this game down. I think you understand that, Larry. So it's going to be interesting how the Niners run the ball efficiently, also them turnovers.
Faster surfaces, I've always believed, favor the faster team. And I think the 49ers are the faster team.
Right.
This is going to be a slower surface. And I was listening to an interview this week with Mike Holmgren. He was talking about how when it is a slower, mucky surface and there's a lot of rain, it's whoever's stronger up front is going to get it done. The team that's stronger up front is going to wind up winning the game. And if you look at the first two matchups between the Niners and the Seahawks, the Niners dominated in the trenches. The Niners generated 48 pressures on defense against Seattle in those matchups, and the Niner O-line only allowed 11 pressures. So the Niners, I think, have what it takes to win on the line of scrimmage in this game, and I think that's where it's going to be won. It's going to be won at the line of scrimmage and with turnovers. Who leads the NFL in turnover margin? The 49ers. So they were +4 in the two previous matchups with Seattle. So, in my mind, I'm hoping and I'm thinking that we may see more of the same.
I hope you're right, Larry, and I think that's great because these two teams don't like each other. And they know they're going to play with some heart and determination, and that's why anytime Seattle and San Francisco get together, records are out the door. Scores out the door because you know what they're going to do. So it's going to say how they handle Harris and Wood, and forward, see what they do with these guys, what they do with these guys up front. That's going to be, like you said, this is won and lost in the trenches. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Let's take a look at last week. Niners, beat up on the Arizona Cardinals 38-13 to finish out the regular season. Another strong day for Brock Purdy. I mean, Brock Purdy, 15 of 20, so 75% he completed. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 4 times. The O-line wasn't great. I mean, they gave up a bunch of 6 hits, I think, on the quarterback, 4 sacks. But, man, Purdy, another really good performance. Mitchell was good. McCaffrey was good. 49ers came away with 3 interceptions. They've got 20 on the year, most in the NFL. Half of those coming from the safeties. It was an impressive game, I thought. The Niners basically took away Arizona's run game. Arizona ran at 3.1 a carry and made their third string quarterback, David Blau, one-dimensional. And outside of that play up top to A.J. Green in the first quarter, the Niners dominated the game.
Yeah, they really did. And you talk about making him one-dimensional and third-string quarterback. And the Niners got a third-string quarterback, Purdy. What about that guy? So it's interesting. It's just when you look at Purdy and what he's able to do, and you're talking about, Seattle and their third-string quarterback. You're talking about, not Seattle, but, Arizona. And now you're getting ready to play a game, and you're like, wow, how awesome is it that you have a guy in Purdy that's a rookie, that's a third-string quarterback, that you're not talking about him in the same breath that you talk about Arizona's third-string quarterback. You're not talking about him in the same breath that you're talking about Minshew. Minshew's on a great team, a good Philadelphia team that just needed a quarterback to go in and hold it down till Jalen gets right. It goes to show you either Kyle Shanahan, how masterful he is with this system, and how quarterbacks are able to step in and play at a high level, or is just Purdy that great of a quarterback? But it's just interesting to watch that. I know we're talking about what Arizona was able to do. They weren't able to do much. It was great that they only got 3 yards a rush, but that means that the Niners defense was stopping them on the run game. And that's what you want to do today. Today it's paramount. This defensive front, that's what I think you got to shut down the run, because yes, you had success against Arizona. Arizona didn't have, their best backs didn't play. So the Niners today, you have to be physical, and you got to make sure you don't let this Seattle be two-dimensional.
Kenneth Walker's a hell of a running back, but the Niners have bottled him up. Yeah. And they've got the 49ers have the number 2 run defense in the entire league, and yet Walker's had a terrific year. He's really tough to corral. He's explosive. He can get to the edge. He'll keep those legs churning. He's got great balance. They're really a one-back outfit, though. If you can stop Kenneth Walker III, you will have stopped Seattle. And it really is interesting. The 49ers, a couple keys in this game, I think. One of them, obviously, is going to be Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And how Brock Purdy plays in the game. And it's interesting. Brock's making his first playoff start. Well, Geno is as well, And I don't know exactly what Brock's going to do today. But he won the NFC Offensive Rookie of the Month for December and January. He led all quarterbacks.
Crazy. Yeah.
During this stretch, he's led all quarterbacks in passing touchdowns with 13, passer rating at 112, yards per attempt, wins, and he's completed 68% of his passes for over 1,300 yards. I mean, Purdy is playing on time. The ball's coming out. He's playing in a rhythm. His play-action fakes are incredible. What I'm seeing are just improv skills for days. I mean, this guy is tremendous on the improv, and he buys himself a little extra time, and then he kind of resets himself in the pocket. Sometimes it's a little roll left, roll right, dash left, dash right. Gets outside the tackle box, gives himself a different angle, and then just throws strikes. And I was talking to one of the receivers this week. It was Tay Martin, who said, I knew Brock was going to be great before training camp. I said, really? Tay, how'd you know that? He's like, I had him. He was the quarterback at the East-West Shrine game, and I was there that week. And he's throwing me passes. And at the end of the first couple of days, I'm thinking to myself, this guy's just throwing nothing but strikes. And so we start talking about his accuracy, and he's like, pinpoint.
Wow.
Pinpoint accuracy. And that's pretty much what we've seen with Purdy. He's thread the needle and made a lot of big-time efficient. He makes efficient throws, but they're big-time throws. and his accuracy, I think, is going to rule the day.
Yeah, you look at Purdy and what he's been able to do with the consistency in which he took over the quarterback position. He took over, Larry, and he hasn't missed a beat. When he took over the job and everyone said, hey, here's this young rookie, what's this guy going to do? Is the stage going to get too big for him? How is he going to perform under the lights? And Purdy has delivered. He's delivered week in and week out. And even when he was in a shootout with the Raiders, he said, hey, look, guess what? Anything you can do, I can do better. And you saw him to go out down double digits and find a way to crawl back into this game. Yes, defense helped him. And I know I'd never say that just the quarterback won the game. But this young man has really, really lifted his play, and he's played solid. And others around him has gravitated toward him. And that's what right now he's got this team and he's got them cooking. And they all buying in. The buy-in is on defense. The buy-in is on offense. And I just think that hopefully today it all can come together and they can just keep this trajectory, because this is this can be a very, very special year for the San Francisco 49ers.
I got to think that the game plan's got to be a heavy run game, right? Not just the weather, the conditions. Seattle's not good against the run. They're giving up 150 yards on the ground per game. To me, if the 49ers at home, with all the runners that they have,
right,
going up against the Seattle defense that lost, Jordan Brooks, their leading tackler,
right?
Week 17, I think he went out. If you can't beat this Seattle team and run it on these guys in your backyard with all the runners that you have, you don't deserve to go on to the next round.
You're right.
So I'm thinking there's an outside chance of a 200-yard rushing day, because I think Shanahan potentially could, take the ball out of Purdy's hands in the wet conditions in his first playoff action and just have a run-dominant game plan. I'm not sure if he's going to do that, because I think he really trusts Purdy. But if the 49ers can't win today by just pushing Seattle around, they don't deserve to move on to the next round. It's as simple as that. I mean, they got to take care of their business.
And you're absolutely right, Larry. And I think that the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan's program today is to move these guys. I think he's going to wear them out. I think in the second half, I think you'll see the 49ers really start to lean. I think the running game, I think they'll have superior amount of yards in the second half more than the first half. I think the second half, the way that the game's going to go, because the Seattle's going to come out, they're going to try to be physical, and they're going to try to match up. But I just think you got too much movement by this offense. Kyle Shanahan's misdirection, his perimeter running, outside zone, all the things that he does, the flanker screens, getting everyone else involved, having three backs in the game and having them line up and have one sweep the other way. So get the defense to keep split flowing, keep flowing, and now defense, everyone's got to stay home. And then you're going to see the second half. I really believe that's, in my opinion, that this game will get blown. It will kind of open the doors, run game, passing game, all those things, because the consistency of moving the ball.
Seattle's a real interesting team.
Yeah.
Yes, they have DK Metcalf. Yes, they have Tyler Lockett. Yes, Geno Smith has had a career renaissance year. But how about this for a little revelation this year? When the Seahawks don't run for 70 yards this year, they're 0-5.
Wow.
This is a running football team. Against the Niners in the two matchups, the Niners have won both of them. Why? Well, because Seattle can't run. Seattle ran for 36 in week 2. They ran for 70 in the second matchup. 49ers have not allowed a single 70-yard rusher in a game this season. So Think about that. Seattle hasn't won a game this year when they don't run for 70. The Niners haven't even allowed a 60-yard rusher, let alone a 70-yard rusher. So that right there says advantage 49ers. The other thing I think was really interesting in this matchup is that the 49ers have an offense. And nobody's, we talk a lot about the 49er defense because of Bosa, and he's the defensive player of the year, and this incredible defensive line, the speed at linebacker.
Sure.
Fonga has been a revelation. The Niners' offense has been the key down the stretch. This is why I really think this 49er team can not just win today, but carry it deep into the playoffs. Their offense, Lo, is averaging 33.6 points per game in the last 5.
Amazing.
The last time a 49er team had a 5-game season-ending stretch where they scored that many points, 1994. That year was the year they beat the Chargers and won the Super Bowl. That was the last time the 49ers actually won the Super Bowl, were they scoring this kind of these kinds of points offensively. Now they get the offense dialed up. You got one of the best defenses in the league. George Odom, Ray McLeod, Mitch Wishnowsky, Robbie Gould. You've bolstered your special teams. They brought in Brian Schneider from Seattle to coordinate. You got an improved special teams. You got a really good defense, a loaded defensive front, and you're scoring points with Brock. And I think they can ride it all the way. Now, I don't know if they can. We'll find out in the end result if they can get over the top, because, man, Philly looks great. It's going to be tough to win there. It's the Super Bowl, all that. Right. But it all starts today. And today, it's about the burden of expectations. Can the Niners handle it? Seattle's going to be loose. I would say the chances of a fake punt are probably like 85%. They're going to give you a fake punt.
They have to do a lot.
Expect the fake punt, right?
No question.
You're getting a full dose of Kenneth Walker. They're going to try to double move you with Tyler Lockett on third down situations. Your opponent. I like this opponent more than Green Bay. If you had Green Bay, you would have had Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Fame quarterback, with a Niners secondary having some issues. He's in lockstep now with Dobbs and Watson, and they've got a tough secondary led by Darnell Savage. I like this matchup. Why? Because Seattle can't stop the run, and the Niners can run it for days. So I'm expecting a 49er, maybe 150 to 200-yard rushing performance and a commanding win today.
Yeah, so I'm thinking a lot of things. When you look at this Niner team and you talk about it, if I told you a while back, how good this team can be, no one knew that this team was going to be throwing the ball over the field the way they are. So really just looking forward to this matchup. But I'm with you. If they do what they need to do, running the ball, they should have a big day. All
right, we got a lot to get to. Eric Davis is going to join. Robbie Gould's going to stop by. John Dickinson from across the street, boots on the ground at Levi's. But up next, Lo and I break down the entire 6-game slate of Wild Card Weekend. It is NFL football at its finest. We'll break down some of the playoff games next on the Kickoff Show on 95.7 The Game.
I bet you folks are glad to be done with your shopping. Hopefully, all your gifts went well. But there's one last store to visit. This time, just for yourself. Your chance to get one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony TVs at a crazy low price. Where? At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. A great way to end the year. If you don't check out these deals at Video Only, you'll be sorry.
If you want to save money and start the year right, Staples has you covered.
I need everything to restock my business. File folders, break room supplies, even business cards.
Staples has you covered with big savings on everything you need for your home or office. And now at Staples, Rewards members get $30 back via Staples Store Bonus when they spend $100. That's $30 to use toward everything from ink to tech. Save big right now at Staples, the working and learning store. Rewards members only. Store bonus redeemable in-store only. Offer ends 1/21.
The new year is here. Time for a change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand IT field with My Computer Career. In just months. Already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus. And financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
When I can't sleep, my mind just races. I think about work, the kids, but I don't think about taking melatonin because I'm afraid I'll feel groggy in the morning.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies has an optimal dose of melatonin for no next-day grogginess, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake up feeling refreshed. ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies for better sleep like never before. And try Pure Z Sleep Plus Next Day Energy with melatonin plus extended release B vitamins.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Johnny Mosley here with the Saturday Toyota Tahoe Report. You're not going to want to miss this one at Palisades. It's going off up here. So grab your PAL boards, jump in your Toyota, and get ready for some face shots.
Thanks, Johnny. More snow expected today around Lake Tahoe. Temperatures will remain cold with a high of 35 degrees. We could see 3 to 7 inches of snow during the day with another 6 to 10 inches overnight. This report has been brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Check out Toyota's full lineup of mountain-ready all-wheel drive vehicles. Toyota, let's go places.
Make connections that count at Evergreen Valley College and get free tuition when you enroll for 6 units or more. That's right, free tuition and no student fees this spring. EVC is an award-winning transfer college and has the 4th most diverse faculty in the country. And with EVC alum earning more money than nearly every other community college in the country, you can take classes and transfer or fast-track your career. Enroll for classes today and get free tuition for the spring. Visit evc.edu for more information and enroll for classes at evc.edu. That's evc.edu.
We're on a journey to make healthcare more accessible and more equitable, to treat the most complex diseases and offer hope where often there is little, to provide better care to more people across the Bay Area. We are more than a hospital, more than a university, beyond science and technology. We are the people of UCSF. UCSF Health. Redefining possible.
At Harris Ranch, we do beef, just like we've done for over 50 years. Beef that's raised locally right here in California. The flavor you crave, the quality you trust time after delicious time. Harris Ranch, we do beef.
Hi, welcome to IKEA and our winter sale. Hi, we've got hundreds of offers on everything from storage solutions to...
I'm sorry, did you say hundreds?
Yeah, check out our offers on shelving and desks.
Oh, what about mattresses?
Yep, those too.
Dressers? Sofas?
Yes, and yes.
I think I need a bigger cart.
Our winter sale is almost over. Visit us in-store or at ikea-usa.com/offers to save through January 22nd. Offer dates may vary. U.S. only while supplies last. Selection may vary by store and online. See store and ikea-usa.com/offers for complete terms. Restrictions apply.
Get up to $26,000 of ERC money for every employee you had in 2020 and 21 that qualifies. You qualify if you satisfy either one of these two tests. The easy way, your gross revenue drops a certain amount. The complex way, a full or partial closure of your business, a facts and circumstances test. You could only use the inside of your business up to 25% of capacity. Even an essential business like a food store had a 75% partial closure. Or supply chain disruptions. Or limits on the number of people you could have in an area. Or many other possible factors. Beware of companies that only consider the easy way and avoid the complex way. And also companies that fraudulently say everybody qualifies, especially companies that only just recently came into existence and then can disappear. We've been practicing tax law for over 30 years. Call Moskowitz LLP at 888-TAX-DEAL. That's 888-TAX-DEAL. 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com. MOSKOWITZ-LLP.com.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
It never dawned on me how much walking I used to do until I bought a house in the suburbs. Like when I'd say, I'm going for coffee, of course I was walking, but now it's like 3 miles and no latte's worth that. I find myself inviting people on walks with me like it's a scheduled activity. This morning, my neighbor asked me what I'm doing, and I actually said, I'm going for a walk with Nancy.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Are you ready? Bonus days are back for pros at Lowe's. You earn points and save when you buy the top pro brands you trust, like DeWalt. Right now, you can save $100 on the powerful DeWalt 8¼ carbide tipped portable table saw. Was $399, now just $299. Join today and shop bonus days, only at Lowe's. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 1/20, subject to change while supplies last. Visit Lowes.com/MVP's bonus points for details.
Now back to the Kickoff Show with Larry Krueger and Lorenzo Neal on 95.7 The Game. Sponsored by Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey. Taste the world's #1 bourbon. And by Harris Ranch Beef. Legendary beef, legendary quality.
Now we keep things rolling here on 95.7 The Game. Larry Krueger and Lo Neal. It is playoff time, and the 49ers taking on the Seahawks today in the wild card game in the NFC. Niners 9-point favorites. Seattle's last win against a team with a winning record, Lo, came way back in October against the New York Giants. So, in fact, Seattle finished the year going 3-5. 2 of those wins against the lowly Rams, 1 against the Jets. Where on the other side, the Niners have won 10 straight games by an average of over 16 points per game. The Niners have 2 wins against Seattle this year already by a combined 28 points. So, I got to think turnovers are the name of the game for the 49ers today. The Niners are +4 in the first 2 matchups. And, you say, if you wanted to have a finish this sentence kind of a thing, the 49ers will lose to the Seahawks today if...
Simple. They'll lose if they lose the turnover battle, and then Seattle have over 150 yards rushing. If Seattle runs for 150 yards and they win the turnover battle, they won this ball game.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good one. I'll go with the 49ers will lose this game to the Seahawks if they are San Francisco is -3 in turnover margin at the end of the day. 49ers are the better team.
Right.
If the Niners are +2, they're going to win big. If they're +1, they're probably going to win by 10, 12, 14 points. If they're even, they can win. If they're -1, they can win. I even think in a crazy situation, the 49ers could be -2 in turnovers and still win today.
So they
will not win if they're -3.
Okay, see, I can even say and I understand your point. -3, I even understand that. And I'd say if they did come back and win, I'm like, okay. But if you have 150 some yards or more.
Right. I wasn't even factoring that in.
And you're running and you're talking about 40 carries. If the Seattle Seahawks have 150 or 160 or more yards and then they have plus 40 carries, you know and I know what that means, Larry. That means that they're pounding the ball. That means they ate up the clock. And that's why they're going to be in it. If they 150 yards and on 40 carries, that means it's a solid 4, 3, 5 yards in the cloud of dust, and that means the Niners defense got wore out.
The 49ers are third in the NFL in time of possession. They possess the ball for almost 32 minutes a game. Seahawks are 30th in time of possession. So, I agree with you. I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. Let's look at some of the other matchups because this is just the first of the 6 matchups. One of 6 NFL playoff games today, Niners Seahawks. The other one today is Chargers Jaguars in Jacksonville. Chargers are a 1.5 favorite. Jacksonville beat the Chargers by 28 points back in week 3.
I don't know how they got this. I don't see why. Well, give me the thought process of the bookmakers. The Chargers are -1. They're on the road, right? And not just that, they don't have Mike Williams.
I know. But here's the thing. The Chargers want to throw the football. They're number 2 in the NFL in passing attempts per game. Jacksonville's 30th in the NFL at defending the pass, according to Football Outsiders. So there you have it. I think they're looking at that going, you know what? The Chargers passing game with Keenan Allen and Eckler and with Herbert is going to have their way against Jacksonville. I will say this. This one, to me, is about the pace and how the race is run. If Jacksonville gets out to a lead, then I think it's going to be then it's a lot of Travis Etienne, and can the Chargers, who are notoriously bad at stopping the run, win that game? I don't think so. But if the Chargers get a lead, all right, now you've got Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence also wants to pass the ball. Chargers, though, are ranked in the top 10 at defending the pass. So that's the thing. The Chargers have Khalil Mack. The Chargers have Joey Bosa. The Chargers have a really good secondary. The Chargers are ideally suited to get a lead and put heat on the quarterback. That's why I think the Chargers are a team that to be looked at as a prime upset candidate, not just in this round, maybe even next round against Kansas City, because they're a team that if they get a lead, they've got premier pass rushers and in a premier secondary. So Jacksonville's won 5 straight games coming in.
Yeah.
But only one of those games, who was against Dallas, has come against a winning team. They did blow out the Chargers by 28 when the two teams squared off earlier this year, but that was a long time ago. That was late September. Herbert had a rib injury the week before. Chargers have a small defense, but it's a fast defense, and they got Joey Bosa back in the lineup, and the Jaguars are without Cam Robinson, their offensive tackle. I think Joey Bosa goes off in this game and puts a lot of heat on Trevor Lawrence.
Tell me how you view Mike Williams? Tell me what he brings to the Chargers.
He's out.
I know, but so he's out. So what type of a loss when you say here's a guy that can go vertical? Keenan moves the sticks, but now you lost your downfield threat. How do you think you roll coverage to Keenan? So when you're looking at the Chargers, not necessarily a great running team. Now if you get behind, you're playing on the road, a loud place, you're going to a hostile environment. They already sold out in Jacksonville. The ticket's going to be great. You're going to 3-hour time zone. You just played all your starters for 4 quarters in a meaningless game against the Denver Broncos. You're already in the 6th position. You couldn't improve. And you played your guys for 4 quarters, and you're going on a short week, and you got to fly down to Jacksonville, and I would have left guys at home. Why would you play your starters for during their 4 quarters and trying to get 11 wins when it couldn't help your playoff position, and you lose your best receiver?
I mean, I agree with you.
I'm like, bro, you talked about it last week. You're like, I want to see McCaffrey out of the game. Boom, you got to see it. You said, I want to hope they're winning. Bosa's out of the game. Boom, you got to see it. They wanted to beat.
All I can think of is that Brandon Staley looks at his team and says, we're going good. Let's keep it rolling. Let's not change anything.
I like him.
You know what I mean? They're going well right now. And they've got some of the NFL's top-tier talent. So, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. Jacksonville has some athletes on defense, and they got a lot of speed at wide receiver. And we all know that Trevor Lawrence is
mobile.
He's mobile. He's a future star. There will be no Mike Williams for the Chargers. I just think the Chargers are the better team. I think the Chargers, overall, I think you're going to see Austin Eckler used in the screen game to try to negate some of that Jaguar
speed
pursuit.
Right.
Yeah. And I think ultimately, this game could go either way, but I think the Chargers get a lead and pin their ears back and make it a one-sided deal.
I'm pulling.
I mean, Jacksonville did not. I watched Jacksonville last week against Tennessee. Yeah, they shut down Derrick Henry. They hardly looked great.
But it was a physical game, though.
It was a physical game, but Jacksonville was not. I mean, it wasn't like Jacksonville looked awesome last week.
No, but they played well. I mean, the quarterback made some. I mean,
they got a big defensive play.
That interception, but I'm just saying Tennessee played well. It wasn't like Tennessee was going out there and playing.
Tennessee played well.
It was just they was throwing the ball with efficiency. Jacksonville's a team. For me, I just hate that Mike Williams in, because if Mike Williams was healthy and they won this game, I'd pick them to beat Kansas City. They match up.
Are you taking Jacksonville here?
God, I'm scared, bro. I want the Chargers. I'm pulling for my Chargers. You know that. I'm pulling for them. You're making me feel better. You know what? I'm going with if you just say, you know what, Larry? Larry, I trust. How about this, Larry? You just changed my mind. I'm happy. Charger fans, I know you guys are watching on IG. Go Chargers. And Larry called it. We're winning.
We'll do a little Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Yeah. Show me your lightning bolt.
Right.
Show me your lightning bolt. Touchdown, Marion Butts.
Oh my God,
Marion Butts.
You got him down. Oh my goodness. That's those days. Wow, that was special.
Hey man, I've been in Southern Cal. I've listened to the Mighty 690.
Mighty 1090, baby.
It was Mighty 690 and then 1090.
Yes. You're right.
And he'd be like, people call up and say anything.
Hacksaw.
Let's go to the hopper.
Yeah, let's get Hacksaw.
Let's get out to Encinitas.
Yeah.
For Ralph, go. And then the guy would be like, I'd like to talk about the Dodgers bullpen. Excellent topic, my friend. Glad you brought it up.
I love Hacksaw, man. He was the best.
Oh, Hacksaw.
I want to see, honestly, I want to see Chargers and Niners Super Bowl.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
It'd be great.
So that's that game. So I'm going Chargers. You're going.
You're going
Chargers. All right. I also have the deal where I go with the better quarterback if I don't know. So in this case, Justin Herbert over Trevor Lawrence. I know Lawrence may be the better quarterback long term, but right now I think Herbert's the better quarterback. All right, then that's tonight. Then tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. window, Bills-Dolphins in Buffalo, AFC wildcard game. Miami's down 2 starters on their O-line. They'll be starting Skylar Thompson at quarterback. Buffalo finished the year on a 7-0 run. Miami dropped, 5 of 6 to finish their year. Raheem Mostert is out with, I think, a thumb injury for the Dolphins. It's Buffalo by 13.5. Low, I think this is one of the games I like the most this weekend. Give me Buffalo. I'll give those points. I think this is a total domination.
That's the game I don't think is close. I'm with you. If you look at
Buffalo's playoff tested, they're rested, they're at home. They've got the whole DeMar Hamlin, who's now recovering at home. You got the Dolphins, who beat Buffalo early in the year, but that was when it was a hot day and
Tua was playing.
Yeah, Tua's out.
Give me the Niners
out.
Give me the Niners in this game here. Niners and Buffalo, like you said. I think those two. I think those are the money games right there. I'm with you.
Yeah, so we're both in agreement on that one. Buffalo over Miami. The next game is Giants-Vikings in Minneapolis. This one's interesting.
Yeah.
Minnesota beat the Giants on Christmas Eve. The Giants played really good at the beginning of the year and kind of stumbled on the way home. They went 2-5-1 in the second half of the year. The thing about it is Minnesota's defense is just so bad.
Up and down, right.
I really think Saquon Barkley is going to have a lot of success running the football in this game. I think the Giants are going to win at the line of scrimmage. Between Kayvon Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence on the defensive side of the ball and the Giants O-line against the Vikings D-line, I think the Giants win at the line of scrimmage. But the best wide receiver in the game is in this game, Justin Jefferson. He's had an incredible year, 1,800-plus yards, 128 receptions. I don't think the Giants have an answer for him. So this is a tough one because the Giants only won 2 of their last 8 games, but they were 4th in the league in rushing. They can run Saquon Barkley, and I don't think Minnesota can stop it. Both of these teams, by the way, they're both playoff teams. They both have negative point differentials on the year. They were both these teams were outscored on the year. Kevin O'Connell is the rookie head coach who was a Niner coach for a while. The San Diego State quarterback is the first-year head coach in Minnesota. Brian Daboll, obviously, maybe the coach of the year in the NFL. I don't know who to. I really don't know how. I mean, I know this. Giants can run the ball. There's no question. And I think they're going to be able to control the line of scrimmage. And for that reason, I'm going to take the G-men, but I don't feel good about that. I would never bet it.
I don't feel good about that one either. But here's the thing. So this is where that I'm going to ask you. I'm going to question you. Not trying to be condescending, but the last matchup you said, hey, the only reason I'm taking the Chargers is because it come down to quarterback, and I think Herbert's better, a little bit better, and I agree with you. But now you go to the quarterback and you think about Webb or whoever the Giants brought out there. Is it going to? You like them against Minnesota quarterback?
I do. Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones threw for over 300 yards in a game against Minnesota earlier this year. He can throw it, and they can run it. And I don't believe in Kirk Cousins in big games.
Okay.
If you could point me to the big game that Kirk Cousins won, I'd love to know because I've watched a bunch of them, and he always seems like he loses.
Yeah, Well, you're absolutely. It's not. It seems like you're absolutely right. He does lose in those big games. So,
the only question I have is the Giants' whole season about beating up on bad teams? New York went 2-7 this year against teams with a winning record. So now Minnesota's at home. They got a great receiver. You got Cousins. The place is going to go crazy.
See, I'm taking Minnesota. You're going the opposite way. I'm taking Minnesota, and then I got next week. I got Cincinnati beating your Bills. Letting you know.
I'm going Giants, but I don't feel good about it.
All right,
I don't feel good about it. Okay, let's get to the next one.
Okay.
Ravens-Bengals. Oh. Now, this is an interesting game as well.
Is it?
Tyler, obviously there is no Lamar.
Lamar is not even thinking about playing. The guy, he's smart. He's like, he got this.
He's got a contract coming up.
And you know what? Shame on Jackson. Shame on Baltimore. You didn't want to pay this guy, so he gets injured, and he says, okay, let me see how much I am. Now, look at when Lamar leaves, and look at where their offense and how their team's played.
Oh, I know.
It's been horrible. This goes to show you it's a shell of itself.
Yeah.
It goes to show you how much he hid and what the things that he solved by being Lamar. And now, if this Raven team decides to move away from this guy, which it probably are, it's going to be a huge fall. They don't make the playoffs next year.
Well, this is a weird one because first of all, these teams played last week.
Right.
That's kind of weird. So they're playing for the second consecutive time. They're also playing for the third time because they're division rivals.
Sure.
And Lamar's out with the knee injury. The backup, Tyler Huntley's got a sore shoulder. So they may be going with Anthony Brown. You say, who's Anthony Brown? He played at Oregon. He was the BC transfer. He's a real athletic kid. He's like 6'3", but he's very inexperienced. And the Ravens, since Jackson went down, they're 2-3. He hasn't practiced since December the 4th. He's got a PCL strain. He's not coming back. The one thing, though, is the Ravens are a total front-running team. And Joe Burrow had two of his biggest struggle games this year against Baltimore. And I had J.K. Dobbins at the end of the year on my fantasy team. And I didn't win in fantasy, but it wasn't because of J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins right now might be one of the best backs in the NFL. Yeah. He's rested and ready. And a refreshed Dobbins, since he came back from the knee injury in Week 14, he's gone for almost 400 yards. He's had 13 runs of 10 yards or more. So I'm looking at a scenario. Now, everybody's saying Bengals. And it makes sense, right?
Right.
Chase and Burrow and Bengals are hot. They've had a great year. They've been really good in the second half of the year, where Baltimore's on a third-string quarterback. But Baltimore can run the ball really well, and they're a total front-running everything. They're a front-running team offensively. If you fall behind and you take Dobbins out of the game and they got a pass, they got no weapons. They got nothing. Rashad Bateman, they got absolutely no passing weapons outside of Andrews, the tight end. But if the Ravens get a lead early and they can say, Dobbins, here's 35 carries or some crazy thing like that, and lean on their defense, which has been much improved since Roquan Smith came over, they got a shot in this game. Now, the Ravens have scored only 4 offensive touchdowns in 5 full games with Huntley at the helm, and now Huntley may be out. But Cincinnati's banged up, too.
They are.
Their right side of their line is all out. So the Alex Kappa, the kid from Humboldt, he's out. It's going to be Hakeem Adeniji and Max Sharping on the right side. So you're going to have brand new right side of your offensive line against a really good defense, and the Ravens, if they get a lead, they're really dangerous because you're going to have a hard time stopping Dobbins if they have a lead. I'm going to say the Bengals get the win, but
I think it's going to be close.
But I'll take Baltimore in the points. I'll take Baltimore in the 8.5. And normally I don't like doing that. I don't like taking the team that's going to win, and because usually in the playoffs I think the margins are bigger. Right. But I just think Baltimore, especially in a division game, kind of like today. I mean, these teams know each other so well that it's hard to get the blowout.
Yeah, for me, it's simple. I look at Miami. Miami, look at it last week against the Jets. They just can't score. Let's just face it, that offense without having Tua, not having the weapon. So Miami, that's going to be the worst blowout. Then after you look at Miami, you say, who else offense struggles out of the playoffs? I would look at Baltimore and say Baltimore then would be one of the next one. And then you look at Seattle. Seattle will probably be third. So if you had to go on a roll, that's kind of where I'm at, because I'm looking at just offenses struggling. So I just don't think Baltimore has enough offense. I understand what you're saying as far as them running the ball.
They need a perfect game. They need to be +2 in turnovers. They need Dobbins to run for 175.
And can they get in the end zone?
Touchdowns.
Can they get?
They need to score touchdowns with Dobbins in the red zone. Yeah,
that's the part that I just
need a bunch.
Yeah,
then you got to be able to shut down Jamar Chase.
Right. Consistency, and I don't think they can. That's why I don't think that one's going to be close.
Ravens only have one way to win. Bengals can win multiple ways.
Yes.
But I still think Bengals will get the win.
You don't think they cover?
But I don't think they cover. I think the Ravens hang. Now, the most interesting game is the Monday Nighter.
No question.
It's Dallas in Tampa. Dallas is favored on the road against Tampa and Tom Brady. Tom Brady's never lost to Dallas. He's 7-0 against Dallas. This game, I think, is one of the most interesting games.
Yeah.
Really, Dallas is 12-5, but they lost Dak Prescott earlier in the year when he broke his right thumb, and they have not won a postseason game on the road in nearly 30 years, or 30-plus years, I should say. 1992 was the last time they won a road playoff game. They've never beaten Brady. Tampa Bay's offense is not good. They're 25th in scoring. They've scored only 30 this year, twice. But they're going to get Vita Vea and Akeem Hicks back. They're 6-1. When Vita Vea and Akeem Hicks play. That's how vital those defensive linemen are. But to me, the more interesting side here is Dallas. Prescott's turning the ball over a ton. He's got 11 picks in the last 7 games. And Dallas's offensive line has struggled. The right tackle, Terrence Steele, went down with a season-ending torn ACL. And then Tyler Biadasz, the center, went down with a high ankle sprain. And then they put Tyron Smith in for Steele, and now he's playing out of position. He's allowed a couple sacks in the last few games. Over the past 3 weeks, Dallas's running game low. They've run 90 times for 266 yards. They're not getting the blocking up front, and their running backs are gassed. Their running backs have gained a league low 1 yard after contact in this stretch. Pollard's got a thigh injury. Zeke has looked old. Dallas, to me, is limping to the finish line here. They've had some major point totals, and everybody looks at some of those point games and go, wow, Dallas can really score. I like Tampa somehow. First of all, what I really like in this game is the under. I like the under because I think Buccaneers' defense slows down Dallas. I think Dallas's defense, the Buccaneers' offense is not that great. I like a low-scoring game, but I like the Bucs. I like the Bucs and Brady to go to 8-0 against Dallas.
Wow, that's interesting because I know this game's in Tampa, and I'm a Brady fan. Love the guy. Been on him for years, but I just don't see it. I think Dallas is going to get the monkey off their back, and they're
explosive. They
are. Dallas. I think you're going to. I think Dak throws for over 300 yards. I'd make that bet right now. He throws for over 300. I just don't think that Tampa can score enough. They're inconsistent running the ball. They can't protect. I'm going to tell you, Tampa Bay to me has the worst offensive line in football.
They are getting Jensen back in this game.
That's going to be big because Tom Brady, I'm telling you, he lives on his back. And he gets the ball out of his hand very, very quick. You know that. And he still sometimes is just, you're like, man, poor 45-year-old guy getting crushed back there. So it's going to be interesting. But I like the Cowboys.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because,
what's the line?
Tampa, it's 2.5. Dallas by 2.5.
Okay.
But Tampa loves to throw it, and yet, this is a game for Fournette and Rachaad White to run it against Dallas. I think the team that says, we're just going to run it on Dallas is going to be the team that ousts the Cowboys. That's why I love Niners-Cowboys, that matchup, because the Niners can run it. I don't think Dallas can stop the run. All right, one guy who can stop the run, he can stop the pass. He's big in big situations, and that's John Dickinson.
Love it.
And we're going to go to big John Dickinson.
JD.
Boots on the ground at Levi's. We'll go across the street with JD. We'll check in with him, get his perspective on the matchup as we get closer to kickoff. It's a 1:30 kickoff here at Levi's. The rain has subsided, and it looks like we're going to have good weather for at least the beginning of this game. They're saying the rain will pick up in the middle of the game, and there's going to be a lot of rain on the drive home. So pack your rain gear, get ready to get wet, and hopefully get ready to see the 49ers get their 14th win of the year and advance on to the division round. It's all coming up straight ahead on the Kickoff Show with Lo Neal and Larry Krueger on 95.7 The Game.
Let's go.
I bet you folks are glad to be done with your shopping. Hopefully, all your gifts went well. But there's one last store to visit, this time just for yourself. Your chance to get one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony TVs at a crazy low price. Where? At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. A great way to end the year. If you don't check out these deals at Video Only, you'll be sorry.
Does your heart long to wander? To encounter colorful creatures from the deep blue sea? And amazing animals from the Amazon and beyond? Feed your wild heart. Travel the world right here in San Francisco. Make your reservation to the California Academy of Sciences at calacademy.org. See rare specimens, ancient fossils, and more at our new exhibit, Hidden Wonders.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
With car prices at an all-time high, our donors are now getting highest receipts ever. Donate at carsforkids.org, and your car can be picked up tomorrow.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
When you open up a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van, you're unlocking potential. The potential to do your own thing. Be your own boss. Steer your own success. Blaze your own trail. Each and every Sprinter van built, designed, and equipped to let you hit the open road and take on any goal. To help you follow your passions, reawaken that spirit of adventure, check all of those big, bold, exciting experiences off your bucket list. Owning a Sprinter van lets you live, work, and play out your dreams wherever they take you. 16 body types, a choice of gas or diesel engine, thousands of ways to customize. It's capable and versatile enough to help drive your ambitions. And now you could win your own Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van customized by Gretsch RV by entering the Dan Patrick Show's Ultimate Fan Van Sweepstakes. To enter, get official rules, visit danpatrick.com for your chance to win the Sprinter van. So go ahead, now's the time. Unlock your potential inside a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van.
Come into Friedman's Appliance and see the full line of Fisher & Paykel appliances. Experience them in person in live vignettes, including their famous dish drawer dishwasher and unique sizes of refrigeration designed to fit seamlessly into your kitchen space. Fisher & Paykel products deliver perfect results with exceptional design and performance. And for a limited time, receive up to a $2,000 rebate when you purchase a qualifying Fisher & Paykel kitchen package from Friedman's Appliance. Visit Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill or online at friedmansappliance.com.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital. Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com. I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
The 34th Annual Manufacturers RV Show is coming to the Alameda County Fairgrounds, January 21st through January 29th. And 95.7 The Game has your chance to enter to win a 4-pack of tickets. Head to 957thegame.com/contest to enter.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now back to the Kickoff Show with Larry Krueger and Lorenzo Neal on 95.7 The Game. Sponsored by Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey. Taste the world's #1 bourbon. And by Harris Ranch Beef. Legendary beef, legendary quality.
Welcome back to the Kickoff Show. Larry Krueger and Lo Neal here at the Santa Clara Hilton, getting you ready for the Niners and the Seahawks in the wild card game. And we go across the street to John Dickinson, who joins us from Levi's Stadium. And JD, good to hear you. How's the field looking? A lot of rain this morning. What are we looking at?
Yeah, a lot of rain this morning, but the field looks like it's in pretty good shape. I went down there, and the rain had stopped about an hour or so ago. There was a light rain that started to fall as the players first came out for the early warm-up here about a half an hour or so ago, but that had since stopped, and just trying to get a feel for the footing and watching guys go through the early part of the warm-up, and it looks like, all things considered, with all the rain in the Bay, that the field is in pretty good shape. Not a lot of slippage. It appeared firm in the areas where I was able to walk around and try and get some semblance of a feel. So we'll see how it holds up if the rain returns as it is scheduled to. potentially in the second half, but I think so far so good as far as watching players come out and try to get loose and try and get used to what kind of shoes they're gonna use on at least a damp track at the beginning today.
No question. JD, when you think about, the game you're going to see today, two teams going to probably try to establish run. Compare and contrast these two run teams, what Seattle brings to the table, what's, how they run the ball, and tell me what the Niners, who's going to be I know what McCaffrey can do, but who's going to be the other guys? I want you to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, to me, as far as the Niners go, it's a whole lot of McCaffrey and then Elijah Mitchell, and we'll see how the 49ers roll through it as far as looking to pass to set up the run. I know from just kind of talking to some people, it sounds as if Brock Purdy had a pretty good week of practice this week in some of the elements, and they're not going to fear his ability to throw the football in the elements, whether it's the rain or as the bigger concern would be some of the wind as I look at the flags blowing around here high above Levi's. But, it is going to be a 49er team that always wants to be able to establish the run or use the pass to come back and establish the run. But I think as far as the Niners go, it's going to be a lot of Christian McCaffrey. Seattle hasn't really been able to run it too well against the 49ers in the first two meetings. And so I think that becomes a big key. Which teams are the better mudders? I think offensively the 49ers should be a better mudder, better in rain, and just the more physical football team. Although, again, a big part of the theme leading into this week is, does the elements, does that level the playing field and make this maybe more of an even game than it would be if it were, played under ideal conditions with the significant talent advantage top to bottom that the 49ers have. So, I think the Niners, I would believe in their ability to run the football more effectively, guys, than Seattle's ability to run the football if you just look at the two matchups to this point this season.
Yeah, run the ball, stop the run. I think that's the game plan. The guy, it's amazing. The 49ers are such a high-profile team, and they get a lot of attention. They had, 6 all-pro guys, but Dre Greenlaw, for whatever reason, gets no love. And Louis Riddick from ESPN's like, anybody watch Dre Greenlaw play this year? Just wondering. He's really freaking good, really good, subjectively and objectively. I mean, JD, Greenlaw had a great year. I mean, career highs in tackles, career highs in forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, 82 solo tackles. To me, I love the Niners to shut down Kenneth Walker today. And the reason why is Dre Greenlaw. He just doesn't, for whatever reason, get in the love nationally. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think it's probably because he's playing with Fred Warner, to be perfectly honest, and that as far as the 49ers linebackers, and that's another one of these shrewd moves for the Niners early on in the season to say, you know what, we're going to lock up Dre Greenlaw right now because they believe that he was going to be a high-caliber player, a keeper, somebody that you wanted to be a franchise building block as they move forward here. And so I think you're right. Maybe he doesn't get the love because there's some other big names on that 49er defense, in particular Bosa and Fred Warner, and Warner more specifically at the linebacker spot. But Greenlaw's been as impactful as any player, I think, on that defense this year, maybe aside from Nick Bosa, and to have him back and healthy, I think is a key to this one. If the Niners were going to be without Dre Greenlaw or a limited Dre Greenlaw for a playoff run, I think that would be really problematic and areas in which the opposition could exploit. The playoffs are all about individual matchups and where can certain teams exploit potential weaknesses. Often those weaknesses are created by injury and lack of depth, but Greenlaw being back in the fold, I think, gives the Niners, just top to bottom, they're about as healthy as they could be coming into the playoffs, and having him have a clean week and get off that injury report by Thursday, I think was pretty huge leading into this one.
And JD, when you're talking about the Niners and what they can do defensively, Greenlaw, the guys, they'll hit you and they'll play great defense. You got Bosa, Armstead. The guys are back. The pack is back. What is Seattle? What is their game plan for success? Is it Geno? What player is going to have a Herculean performance? Tell us kind of what Seattle's looking to do, in your opinion.
Yeah, I think the key for this one is obviously can the rookie tackles protect. I mean, the Niners have been able to get, 40 pressures in the two games, over 40. I think it was 45 pressures in the two games. And just repeatedly, I thought that the two rookie tackles really wore down for Seattle over the course of the season. I think we saw that in the December 15th game where the 49ers were able to win and Nick Bosa just had his way. But as far as the game plan with Seattle goes, I'm really curious, guys, to see if they move DK Metcalf around a little bit. We saw Charvarius Ward following him,
right.
But I think you could see DK maybe even go into the slot a little bit and force the 49ers maybe to do something a little bit different. Maybe he ends up getting mixed up in that instance with Jimmy Ward, but trying to do something to prevent Charvarius Ward from just following him around for the entire game. I think that's the key. Seattle's going to want to run it. I think the Niners are going to take it away, but how does Seattle try to get DK Metcalf involved in this game in a different way than we've seen in these first two matchups? And then it obviously comes down to, can they protect long enough to try and allow Geno Smith to be able to hit him down the field? They've got a lot of short passes, and even the short passes they haven't had time to really protect, and the Niners have blown a lot of plays up against Seattle. But that's the one area I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts as well on that, just how they try to use DK Metcalf as a chess piece and really the most talented offensive weapon that they have, and try to make it more vulnerable to the 49ers defense, which has been vulnerable at times to the pass and to the deep shot.
It's funny. I think in a lot of ways, Charvarius Ward was brought here because of DK Metcalf. And, Charvarius has been targeted on the season 69 times. He's only given up 2 touchdowns all year. I asked him this week about that meeting with DK, and he was saying, or I guess it was last week we talked about it, and he was like, hey, I really like DK and I respected him, but, man, he really took things personally. DK came unglued in the last matchup, and it looked like Charvarius got kind of under his skin. So, I think if I'm the Niners, I think that's such a good matchup that I would have Charvarius traveling.
Travel with him, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I would do the same, JD. I'd let Travis let him travel with him because, DK, he's a straight-ahead guy. He doesn't necessarily run the best routes, like the 5 routes to come back. He's just a physical guy and wants to impose his will on you. And so that's what the Niners are going to have to do, is make sure they jam in Blake over the top, help at times with the safety. When you look at the Niners the last couple of weeks, JD, what has been the biggest deal that you, as far as sacks, lack of pressures that we've used to accustomed to see? When we see them turning it up, what has been the biggest thing to you? And if they don't put pressure and let Geno have a lot of amicable time, could it be a long day?
Yeah, it could be, but the Niners in this matchup have just been able to get pressure. It almost feels as if Seattle and again, the rookie tackles are going to allow it at this point. Going through the first playoff game in this kind of environment, which figures to be terrific. I think, Nick Bosa a couple of different times has alluded to the fact that not that he got worn down toward the end, but once the Niners had clinched the division, that maybe they weren't quite as locked in as they had been prior to that, and that almost he's getting a second wind right now as the playoffs start in the stretch run toward trying to get to and win a Super Bowl. So I think Bosa's really been just kind of waiting to really explode again, and others to kind of come along for the ride. So I'm not worried, even in the wet conditions. Just as far as this matchup, I think this is a great matchup for the 49ers. I think it's probably the best possible matchup they could have drawn as far as facing Seattle, a divisional opponent that they were able to dominate really in a couple of those games. I know Seattle made it a 1-score game late in the game up in Seattle on the Thursday night, but I think the 49ers have to be feeling really confident that they are by far the more talented team, but also some individual matchups, and the things that they do well are things that maybe Seattle doesn't do well, and that can lead toward opportunities to really turn this game into one that they control throughout.
I was just looking at my phone for the inactive list, and it is just out just now. Drake Jackson, Jimmy Garoppolo, not a surprise there, Ty Davis-Price, Nick Zakelj, Ross Dwelley, Tevin Coleman, Ambry Thomas. So the fact that they called Tevin Coleman off of practice squad, a lot of people had surmised that maybe they were just trying to throw him a game check. It looks like that's indeed what the story is there. But the two interesting ones are Ty Davis-Price, who's a 220-pound running back, and he could have been a pretty good mutter today, and Drake Jackson. Does it surprise you that Jackson's not up?
Yeah, a little bit, although Jackson had been a healthy inactive going back, over the last couple of weeks. That had been the case. There was one other game where he was. I can't remember if it was last week or the game against the Raiders, but there was one of those games he was a healthy inactive, and to me that didn't bode well for his potential to be active during the playoffs unless there was some kind of an injury. And the 49ers, they typically trust the veterans, almost without fail, unless they're forced to, go a different direction via injury. As far as Ty Davis-Price, that one's not a surprise with Mitchell back in the fold. You've got McCaffrey, you've got Mitchell, you've still got Jordan Mason, who's found himself into the mix as the third guy. And yeah, I was a little curious about the Tevin Coleman call up, but yeah, it made me wonder, did somebody maybe get hurt at practice, or is there something that we don't know? That popped up between maybe Thursday and this afternoon. But, yeah, not the case as far as that goes. But, a little surprised. You and I, Larry, we're pretty high on Jackson. But I think the Niners at this point are, he's become the odd man out, at least initially, going into the postseason with the rest of the defensive line and the pass rushing core pretty full strength and healthy and ready to roll.
JD, when you think about the Niners, we know the defense, what they're going to do up front. We understand how tough they can be, and it can be impose their will. Let's talk about Seattle. Seattle's defense up front. You know that they struggled against the run, one of the worst teams. How do you think, what's going to be some of their keys to try to slow down this Niners offense as far as running game, or if they can? What say you?
Yeah, I think they've been better over the last, I guess, 3 games than they had been prior to that, and in the last matchup. Their defense just overall top to bottom. I think the game plan is still going to be to try and sell out as much as they possibly can to stop the run, knowing that that's where the 49ers, everything kind of begins and ends, and force the rookie in the first playoff game of his career to beat them in what figure to be less than ideal conditions. I mean, it's the obvious point, but I think it's in many ways, guys, it's the only way Seattle can play it. And what we've seen from Brock Purdy and the 49ers is teams that have tried to do that have been dissected by the rookie quarterback, and it really hasn't mattered. The Niners have kind of had their way as far as being able to punch it into the end zone and make enough big plays to where if they need to come back to the run later, they're able to, while also making plays in the passing game and scoring touchdowns. But as far as the way Seattle tries to go about it, I think really the only way they can is to try and do everything. Just keep putting as many in the box as they can, and hope that they can slow down the run. And maybe Purdy's a little bit off at his first playoff game, and the elements can get to him, and the thing hangs closer than expected.
Good stuff, JD. Give us a prediction on your way out the door. What's your final score going to be?
Yeah, I like the 49ers 27-13.
Okay.
27-13, San Francisco in this one.
We'll see you up there. Thanks, JD.
All right, you got it, fellas.
27-13. I wrote it down. JD says the Niners 27-13. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
I think at the most 17 they get. I think it's something like 34-17. I think that, maybe a garbage touchdown or just, at the end of the game. But I don't see more than 17. I don't see them getting more than that.
Well, I mean, he's saying 27-13. The 49ers average 26.5 a game. So that means he thinks they're going to score right about their average.
Yeah.
Seattle averages 23 points a game. But against the 49ers, they scored 7 and then 13.
Right.
He thinks they're going to score 13 again. So that makes sense as well. As far as the division, I think it's interesting. The 49ers are 6-0 inside the NFC West.
That's awesome.
For the first time since 1987.
Right.
You got to go way back. I mean, 1987, last time the 49ers went 6, or was it 8? Yeah, I think it was 87, went to 6-0 inside the division. Kyle Shanahan initially struggled in the division.
Yes.
Shanahan went 12-18 in the first 5 years in the division.
Yeah.
But this year, it was 97. So 25 years ago, the last time the 49ers went undefeated in the division.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, it really is hard to do. Do you look at the 49ers spot right now in the division as that they're going to be the dominant team in the division going forward? Or and if that's not the case, who do you think is going to run with them.
Well, right now, it looks like the 49ers will be the dominant in the division. You look at the way they draft, you look at the way that they've been building this team, and you say, wow. You look at the Rams, over the cap, bunch of injuries, don't know what they're going to do. They still have Donald. We get that. You look at Arizona, it's, they're a sieve. You don't know if Kyler Murray's going to be back. You don't know about the quarterback situation. So it's just uncharted territory for Arizona. And then you look at Seattle. I think Seattle's a team that still is going to be on the come. I think when you think about the way that they drafted, they got some young guys. They still got some talent there. So I think that Seattle would probably be the closest thing far as with the consistency and still some young guys. But Larry, you've been around this game. You know, if 1 year you look like you dominate, you go dominant, and all of a sudden 1 year this team comes out of nowhere. Look at the Niners. They won 4 games, and the next year they're in the Super Bowl. So it's hard to say if this team can do it.
And it can end really quickly. I mean, the Rams were in the Super Bowl last year.
Right.
They looked tremendous, and now, to me, they look like a fading team that Sean McVay may walk away from. Now, McVay did announce yesterday that he's coming back this year with the Rams. But you know what I'm saying? It's not for long. It's like the speed dial on transactions in the NFL is so fast. I thought we were going to see Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman man the middle of the Niner defense for years to come. And you look up 3-4 years later, and all of a sudden
they're gone.
Bowman's got a knee, and Willis has got a toe, and Willis retires prematurely, and Bowman's diminished, and then he's out of the. It just looked like it was going to be like a 10-year run for those guys, and then it ends. It just goes to show, and this is why I think John Lynch really deserves the Executive of the Year this year. When you have the horses, you need to go for it.
Yeah.
He knew he had a stacked roster, and he decided, you know what? We're going for it. We're going to go for Christian McCaffrey. We're going to make this trade. We're going to bring this guy in because who knows? Who knows what your roster is going to look like in 2 years? Nick Bosa may not be healthy. Trent Williams may be in retirement.
Right.
You just don't know. Some of your best players are your veteran players. So I like the aggressive mindset. I think the Rams, I don't want to say the Rams showed the 49ers, but the Rams' singular focus on the Super Bowl, that incredible
not the way to do it.
Well, but I mean, I think it made the 49ers say, you know what? We're not just going to be able to draft well every year and just kind of take our chances. We're going to have to actually take a proactive stance. And I think that maybe nudged, John Lynch to make that trade for McCaffrey. I think you could make a great claim that the Niners wouldn't be here right now, at least not with this much momentum if they hadn't made the McCaffrey.
Without a doubt, McCaffrey has been the glue and been the biggest, boost and the spark in the arm, a shot in the arm for this Niner team. But, don't forget several years ago when they got the E-Man, Emmanuel Samuels. Think about when they went out and made that trade and brought him in as a receiver. He was that catapult to take this offense and take it to the next level. So you got to realize the Niners have been that team that, John's not afraid to jump in the water, both feet, and say, hey, look, we're going to try to make a splash. And this year, though, this McCaffrey trade, this McCaffrey deal, what you did is you solidified your offense for the next 4 or 5 years if he stays healthy, because now you got Debo long-term, you got Ayuk, you got Kittle, you have weapons now, and it's about getting the trigger man, and hopefully you got Purdy or whoever's going to be the quarterback. You have the weapons that you need to at least make your offense explosive. And that's the whole thing I think Niner fans are really optimistic about, is the fact, Larry, that this offense, we always talked about Ayuk, and you talked about the different weapons and Debo and Kittle. It's like, why the hell can't they score? Now it seems like you got Brock Purdy, and now this offense now seems like it's raising up its game, and you're able to score with the talent, because we always talked about the talent that they had.
The receiving running back has been a key element of 49er dominance for decades.
Yes.
They wouldn't have been the same team without Roger Craig. They wouldn't have been the same team in the 90s without Ricky Waters.
No
Both
question.
those guys were outstanding receivers out of the backfield. They hadn't had – Frank Gore was a great player, Hall of Fame player, but they didn't have that receiving running back out of the backfield until McCaffrey. And now in 11 games with the 49ers, McCaffrey's got over 1,200 total yards, 746 on the ground, 464 receiving, 11 total touchdowns. He's got his passing touchdown as well. McCaffrey has just been a revelation, and way to go, John Lynch. Now, the other thing you're seeing this week is that Adam Peters has been rumored to be the GM candidate in several spots, and he's turning down some of these opportunities, leading to speculation that maybe Lynch is not a long-timer as far as the general manager. Maybe he'll retire and go back to the booth. There was talk about Amazon. Maybe he'll kick himself upstairs into a president role at the end of the year. But I could see Peters being given a promotion. Why? Well, look at this list. This is an incredible list. These are players that the 49ers current regime drafted in the 5th round or later since 2017. Okay, there's 16 players on this list. Listen to this list. Brock Purdy, Juwan Jennings, Kendrick Bourne, now in New England, Richie James, now with the New York Giants, Matt Breida, who's no longer here, Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson, who's with the Dolphins, Jordan Mason, JaMychal Hasty, who's with the Jags, Kittle, DJ Jones, Dre Greenlaw, Azeez Al-Shaair, Emmanuel Mosley, DJ Reed, who really went on and had a successful run in Seattle, and I think is Jets now, maybe?
Jets, yeah.
And then Hufanga.
Man.
But, I mean, look at that. That's a ton of talent.
Talent.
That's round 5, round 6, round 7, or after the draft. And they have 16 players, and a bunch of those guys are starters.
Yeah.
I mean, Kittle's a star.
He's a star. He's absolutely a star. You look at Kittle, but you look at some of the names that you were talking about, just this organization drafted and went out and got, and still in the league, whether it's with the Jets or other organizations that still have an impact on the game today. That's kudos to this John Lynch and the staff that he put together. Whoever put this staff together, it's going to be interesting to see what happens if John Lynch decides to go upstairs or go back to the booth. I don't think so. I think that John kind of feels good being a GM. I think that he's learning. I think that Kyle Shanahan trusted him, and I think John Lynch probably has learned a lot being a GM, even though he walked into a job that never done before. The guy knows about talent. He played this game for a long time. I think he's pretty good evaluator of talent as well.
John Lynch has shown that he's a renaissance man. He was good in the booth. He was great on the field. And obviously now he's getting it done in the front office because the 49ers are as stacked as almost any team in pro football. All right, we're going to take a timeout.
Before you take that timeout, let me say hi to I got 2 little fans. I want to say hi to Presley and Levi. Appreciate you guys always listening. Hudson, thank you guys for listening to the show. 95.7 The Game.
There you go. All right, we're going to take a break. Coming up next, Christian McCaffrey spent a lot of time with Brock Purdy. Kind of came out in an article this week that basically Purdy spent a lot of time tutoring Christian McCaffrey, and that McCaffrey saw greatness in Purdy. We'll tell you a little bit about that, and we'll also get into our most important segment, which is the keys to victory. What is the key for the 49ers to beat the Seahawks and advance on to the division round? Lowe and I tackle it next. It's the Kickoff Show, brought to you by Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey and Harris Ranch Beef on 95.7 The Game.
I bet you folks are glad to be done with your shopping. Hopefully, all your gifts went well. But there's one last store to visit, this time just for yourself. Your chance to get one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony TVs at a crazy low price. Where? At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. A great way to end the year. If you don't check out these deals at Video Only, you'll be sorry.
Johnny Mosley here with the Saturday Toyota Tahoe Report. You're not going to want to miss this one at Palisades. It's going off up here. So grab your POW boards, jump in your Toyota, and get ready for some face shots.
Thanks, Johnny. More snow expected today around Lake Tahoe. Temperatures will remain cold with a high of 35 degrees. We could see 3 to 7 inches of snow during the day with another 6 to 10 inches overnight. This report has been brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Check out Toyota's full lineup of mountain-ready all-wheel drive vehicles. Toyota, let's go places.
Make connections that count at Evergreen Valley College and get free tuition when you enroll for 6 units or more. That's right, free tuition and no student fees this spring. EVC is an award-winning transfer college and has the 4th most diverse faculty in the country. And with EVC alum earning more money than nearly every other community college in the country, you can take classes and transfer or fast-track your career. Enroll for classes today and get free tuition for the spring. Visit evc.edu for more information and enroll for classes at evc.edu. That's evc.edu.
Kirby is your driveway mechanic. They bring the shop to you with brake replacements, oil changes, washes, and so much more. Get $50 off your first oil change with code OIL50 at Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com and use code OIL50.
Hey Niner fans, George Kittle here with a pro tip for making the best play on your eyewear. Visit Zenni.com, the official eyewear of the 49ers. Zenni has changed the game for you, finally making prescription glasses affordable for everyone. At Zenni, you can find over 3,000 frames with unbelievable prices. Look for the Kittles collection so you can rock our styles every day too. So visit ZENNI.com, start shopping from home using their virtual try-on, and change your eyewear game forever.
At Harris Ranch, we do beef. just like we've done for over 50 years. Beef that's raised locally right here in California. The flavor you crave, the quality you trust time after delicious time. Harris Ranch, we do beef.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
Hey guys, this is Keenan Thompson. I have a problem with you. Yes, you. None of y'all told me that AutoTrader has millions of new and used cars that I can shop from home. I thought we were friends. I put smiles on your face, but I'm not smiling. No one told me that with AutoTrader, a dealer can deliver cars to my home or that I could shop by price on AutoTrader. No one. Consider this friendship that you just learned we had officially over. Finally, it's easy. AutoTrader.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code FRIEND at checkout. That's harrys.com, code FRIEND. Enjoy!
Now back to the Kickoff Show with Larry Krueger and Lorenzo Neal on 95.7 The Game. Sponsored by Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey. Taste the world's #1 bourbon. And by Harris Ranch Beef. Legendary beef, legendary quality.
Well, we keep things rolling on the Kickoff Show. Larry Krueger and Lo Neal here at the Santa Clara Hilton. And the rain is starting to come down a little bit more as we get closer to kickoff. 49ers and Seahawks. The winner moves on and the loser goes home. It's the NFC wildcard game. How will Brock Purdy play in his first playoff start? How will Geno Smith play in what is his first playoff start? That's one of the big questions of the day, and we don't really know. And, of course, turnovers will be a factor. The field conditions will be a factor. I'm expecting a run-heavy game from the 49ers led by Christian McCaffrey. And, Christian McCaffrey, when they traded for him, there was a ramp-up period. If you remember when the Niners traded for Jimmy Garoppolo, he didn't get on the field for 5 weeks.
Right.
Or whatever it was,
yes.
3 weeks, whatever.
3 weeks.
Because he had to learn the offense.
Right.
Now, granted, he was the quarterback. But Christian McCaffrey hit the ground running, but he still had to have a crash course in the Niner offense when he first got here. And I read an article this week about how he spent a bunch of time with Brock Purdy, and Purdy spent hours tutoring McCaffrey in this offense. And McCaffrey told NBC Sports Bay Area about Purdy. He says, I saw greatness in him right there. He doesn't act like a rookie. He doesn't act like a rookie in the huddle. And he plays with a calm confidence that is rare, especially in rookie quarterbacks. I guess Purdy would recite the plays to McCaffrey, and they would walk through every line of the team's game plan in those first few weeks. McCaffrey said he gained so much from hearing the plays verbalized from Brock rather than just reading and memorizing. He says, when you're hearing them, that's how it's going to be given to you in the huddle. He says he came out, he spent a lot of extra time with me. I knew he was selfless. I knew he had high character, and he was learning too, so it was good for both of us. So, very cool. And obviously Purdy's played well. He's had, he's 6-0. I mean, you could say he's 6-0 because he came in losing in that Dolphins game. He didn't start the game, but he's 5-0 if you want to say his 5 starts. And he's completed 85 of 124 passes, so 68.5%, almost 69% of his passes for over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, 2 picks. His passer rating was 119 in those 5 starts. He's really played at a high level of football, and that's like one of the big questions of the day. How's Brock going to play? What do you expect? What do you expect to see today from Brock Purdy?
Well, I got to go back to your article. They wanted to skip over that. I think that was awesome find by you. But when you hear a guy like McCaffrey with the character and intelligence that he has, here's a guy, Stanford University, a guy who's, comes from a great football family, his father, and the things that he done, but that he's serious about his craft. Everyone knows that McCaffrey is a professional. He's a pro's pro. He came in wanting to get in the offense right away. The guy put the time in it. He wants to win. And he understands. He spent some time in different teams and, of course, in Carolina. And he understands what it's to be like on a good team. He knows what it's to be like on a bad team. And he's telling it's a perfect fit for the Niners because he's had some ups in Carolina and he had some downs. And he understands the demographics now where he's at. And he's like, this opportunity is not going to happen a lot. He's on a team right now that McCaffrey's name is going to be infamous in history in the NFL because he left a situation, a market that was subpar, a market that they weren't winning, and he's now in San Francisco and he's become one of a household names. Well, he was, but now he's even bigger than what he thought he could become because he's on a good team. So now when you look at what McCaffrey, the time that he puts in, but then getting with Brock Purdy and saying, here's a guy that said he's going out there, mimicking the plays, saying the plays, doing it in the huddle, walking through with me and making sure that I know, but also he's getting the grasp of the offense because he needed to, and now we're both learning together. This is a guy, when you hear that praise by McCaffrey for a guy put hours and hours and hours on endless time to make sure that they both are on the same page, it's a reason why you see how they go to each other, and they're working well together right now.
Purdy's just playing incredible football, and will it continue? I mean, that's the question. Here's an interesting list that I saw this week. Dan Orlovsky works for ESPN, and he decided to rank the 14 quarterbacks that are still alive in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think this is the problem. This is where people make their, the old saying, if your premise is wrong, your conclusion will be wrong. Well, his premise is that Brock Purdy is the 13th best quarterback in these playoffs. And here's his list. He's got Mahomes 1, Burrow 2, Josh Allen 3, Jalen Hurts 4, Herbert 5, Lamar 6. Lamar's not even playing. Tom Brady 7, Daniel Jones of the Giants 8, Trevor Lawrence 9, Geno Smith 10, Kirk Cousins 11, Dak Prescott 12, Brock 13, and Skylar Thompson, who's starting for the Dolphins this weekend in place of Tua, as 14. Okay, in my opinion, if you actually really watched, now I'm not saying that Dan Orlovsky doesn't watch football, but if he'd really watched all these games, I think he's got Brock Purdy either fourth or fifth on this list. The list should go Mahomes 1, Burrow 2, Josh Allen 3. Now, I would put Jalen Hurts in there 4, but we really don't know about Jalen Hurts because he's got the separated shoulder. But we'll put him in there 4 anyway, just because he's had the incredible year. I think right there is where you put Brock Purdy. I think he's playing more consistent football than Justin Herbert. I think he just outdueled Tom Brady and beat him 35-7. He's a considerably better player than Daniel Jones. I think he's more advanced than Trevor Lawrence. Geno Smith, what are we talking about? Geno Smith has played horrendous football down the stretch. I don't think Geno's completed more than 60% of his passes in most of the games. Geno, 4 of the last 5 games, he's had a completion percentage under 63%. But according to Orlovsky, he's better than Purdy. Kirk Cousins has never won a big playoff game that I can think of. He's ahead of Purdy. Dak Prescott's got 11 picks in the last 7 games. He's not better than Purdy. So that's where they're wrong. Purdy's not the 13th best quarterback going this weekend. He's more like the 4th or 5th best quarterback going this weekend. And that's where the this whole story of Brock Purdy, I think is going to grow significantly today and in the weeks ahead, because I think people are going to realize that, yeah, they've got great talent. Yeah, they got a number one defense. Yeah, Shanahan's a star. But this kid the ball is coming out on time with accuracy. He's playing with pace and rhythm. He's throwing with touch and accuracy. None of this is accidental. It's time. I get it. People are slowed on the come to the story. I get it. But, I think you got to get current.
Yeah, I don't put him where, like you said. I think that he's way too low. But when you're talking about 5 and 6, I just tell you right now, you put Purdy in L.A. with the Chargers, he would have to do way more than he's doing here. You put Purdy in Jacksonville, it's a different story. So I think that Kyle Shanahan doesn't get the credit. I think Purdy's playing great, without a doubt. And I do think that he doesn't make the mistakes that you watch Dak Prescott makes. You see that. But I look at Jalen Hurts. You look at, you have him in Kyle Shanahan's offense with his mobility and the accuracy which he throws. I just think, man, if you had Justin Herbert in this offense, if Justin Herbert was with the Niners, with this run game in this offense, you look at Seattle, not Seattle, but also Jacksonville's quarterback, if he was in this offense with these weapons in this defense, I don't know if so I think those two would be over, but then I'm only probably like 2 or 3 different than you.
Yeah, so I'm a little.
You're high on him.
I'm high on him. I'm high on him. I'm higher on him than most.
Rightfully so, though.
That's all right.
Rightfully so.
All right, let's get into the matchup itself as far as keys to victory. By the way, for those of you looking for betting trends here, the 49ers 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 games. Seattle, the opposite, 1-7 against the spread in their last 8 games. All right, keys to victory. Let's go back and forth. I'll go. We'll start with you. Give me a key to victory for the 49ers today.
Win the turnover battle.
Win the turnover battle. Absolutely. Niners lead the NFL in turnover margin. I say they have to either win it or right. Don't lose it. Don't be -2. Don't be -3. Seattle has a chance to win today's game if the Niners are in that -2, -3 area.
Yeah. My next one, win special teams. Because only way Seattle's going to have a chance, they need big plays on special teams. Fake punt return, big play.
They beat the Niners last year here on special teams. The 49ers special teams are dramatically improved.
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you one. 49ers offense leads the NFL in yards after catch. The Seahawks defense gives up the second most yards after catch in the entire league this season. So burn Seattle with yards after the catch. What does that mean? That means accuracy from the quarterback, big plays, leading these guys into open spaces. Yards after the catch, I think, are going to be a major factor in the 49er favor.
Yeah, I agree with you, too, in the yards after contract. And I think that's the biggest thing kind of with the Niners. Because their offense is built around perimeters and doing things and getting people out in space, I think you have to give them a huge advantage. Seattle's the type of team that want to get up, like you said, and be physical. They're going to run out the different routes, just what it is. But the Niners are more offense where it's going to move, misdirection, going to have opportunities for footing. So I think that both these teams are going to give up some plays. I just think with the ground, the weather, and how it is, I don't care. The Niners are going to give up some big plays, and so will the Niners. It's just, and so will Seattle. It's just almost impossible. You know that on this type of field, a slip safety comes down, he's breaking down the tackle, boom, he slides past, some running back's going for 30. I just think on this field, both teams are going to give us some big plays.
The Niners have stars at running back and tight end, and the Seahawks allow a league-high 7.9 yards per catch to tight ends and running backs. So what does that mean? That means it's a big day for McCaffrey out of the backfield catching the ball, and a big day for George Kittle. The one thing we've seen under Brock Purdy is that George Kittle's become a superstar. Under with Purdy. Purdy can make that seam pass. He threw a lot to Charlie Kohler at Iowa State. He loves to use the tight end. He loves to operate in the middle of the field. He's the run after the catch yardage that I'm referring to. A lot of that I think is going to come from Kittle today.
Me too.
I think look for Kittle and McCaffrey to pile up big receiving totals.
You know what Brock Purdy does well to me, Larry, is he gives Kittle a chance to win. See, I sometimes you watch Jimmy and he's like, okay, boom. I don't know if he's not comfortable with the offensive line at times, but it became 1, 2, 3. Kittle's not open. I'm going off him. I think Purdy has been able to say, let me look off. Okay, he's got a clock in his head. Even though I'm not looking at Kittle, 1,001, 1,002, I'm looking somewhere else. 3, Art, I just know on my clock that he's going to be open in that spot. I think he's done a great, masterful job of letting guys work to get open.
Yeah. No question. There's just no question about it. 49er O-line's going to be a key in this one.
Yeah.
Niner O-line's playing a little bit better than people think. 49er O-line has allowed the second lowest pressure percentage in the NFL. They've allowed the 5th fewest sacks in the NFL. And the Niner O-line has allowed the 8th fewest quarterback hits in the entire league. The key guy for Seattle is Darrell Taylor. Believe it or not, even though the Niners have Nick Bosa and one of the NFL's deepest defensive lines, it's Seattle that has sacked the quarterback more this year than the 49ers. 45 sacks for Seattle, 44 for the Niners. Darrell Taylor is their big sack guy. He comes flying off the edge. He's a crazy athlete. He goes about 265. He can get parallel to the ground. He's got such bend. He's got 9.5 sacks. I think they got 12 different guys who got at least 1 sack this year, but he's leading the way. He's got 9.5, and he's a force.
Yeah,
man.
52.
He's a speed guy. You got to chip him.
Yeah.
You got to slide towards him. They got to account for Darrell Taylor. You got to make sure that Darrell Taylor doesn't just live in Brock Purdy's lap all day.
Exactly. And there's like you played a guy, J.J. Watt, who retired last week. He was a guy that you said, look, we got to put a double hat on him. At times we got to turn protection to him because if you don't block certain guys, they can make it bad on your team. And, and he can do that. My favorite offensive lineman on this team, the Niners, is Mike McGlinchey. I just like the guy. He's a pro. I like the guy. He owns it. At times he struggles, but he gets back up and he keeps fighting. I want him to go today, and I'd love for him to have a great game. I want him to get a game ball because something about McGlinchey, you see him at times, he's struggling, he's fighting through injuries. He's just a tough guy. He stands up and accountable. He holds himself accountable. I want that guy to play well today.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. And I think Mike's a really good run blocker, and I think it's a run the ball game. Run the ball, stop the run. As we said before, Seattle's 0-5 when they don't rush for 70 yards. The Niners have not allowed a 70-yard rusher all season long. So if Kenneth Walker can be bottled up and they can keep him in check, chances of winning this game go up dramatically. And then I think offensively for the 49ers, it's very much about the turnovers because the Seattle defense is not very good. They lost Jordan Brooks a couple weeks ago. They're not good against the run. They allowed the 7th most yards in the league, the 8th most points per game in the league. This is not a stellar defense. No. They got 2 rookie corners, but the key is, does Purdy have time to throw?
Yeah.
Because they do have some pass rushers. I love when you look at the depth chart, and the depth charts are something that I always love to look at. When you take Jordan Brooks out, and then you look at what they replaced him with. They always say next man up, man up. Well, it's a great saying.
It's a great saying, but
it doesn't necessarily hold water.
No, I agree.
Tanner Muse played safety at Clemson.
Wow.
He's playing the inside backer spot for Jordan Brooks. He ain't Jordan Brooks. And they got Cody Barton, the former Utah Ute.
Yeah.
The key guy to get blocked up front is Uchenna Nwosu, number 10, the right outside backer. Yep. He'll get after the quarterback. Yeah. He's just a big-time player, the former Charger.
Right. And for me, it's I know you got to win up front. You win games are lost, won and losses in the trenches. You and I, we understand that. So the Niners got to hold up inside those trenches. I just think Seattle's today is going to come and try some different games. You're going to try to you understand the Niners, they were zone and at times they're going to run. I see Seattle saying we got to slant to the wide side of the field at times. We're going to run a lot of twisting games. We're going to try to beat guys. We're going to try to, give them the illusion we're doing something, but give them something else. I think Seattle's going to have to be very, very gimmicky today. They're going to have to take chances in the defense. You might look like they twist and it's a huge hole because they're trying to create opportunities. I think this defense, it's for Seattle, has to take a lot of chances in order to slow this Niners offense down.
I'll tell you one other thing that I think is a major key in this game is that the 49ers play a lot of games up front. They do a lot of stunting. They like to cross the quarterback's face. The key guy in third downs on this team is not DK Metcalf. It's Tyler Lockett. Metcalf is a big play guy, but Lockett's the guy that will double move you, triple move you, great ball skills, great route running. So you got to make sure that you're crossing the quarterback's face between Lockett and Geno. You know, at some point, you got to work some of your games and take into account where Lockett is on the field and make sure you cross that quarterback's face so that you give Geno not a clean look. And the other key, Geno's not a big-time runner, but he will take off. He burned him earlier this year with a big scramble.
When he has to.
Do not give Geno the obvious lane. And I'll say this, too. Geno's a veteran. You know, he's a smart quarterback at this point. You can't just give him. To me, I'd rather see D'Amico sit back and let rush 4, drop 7, and don't give him defined reads.
Right.
If you blitz him, I've watched a lot of Geno this year. You give him defined reads. He knows how to beat it, where to go. He starts playing on time.
Yeah.
You're actually helping him out by giving him defined reads. Rush 4, drop 7, play coverage. Don't give him defined reads.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. When you don't give a quarterback defined reads, now he's got to go through his reads and say, but even though they're not defined, he's got to find those holes because you're dropping 7 and now he's got to try to find that hole. And at times, if guys get deep enough, he's got to throw the perfect ball because it's got to go over the top and drop in the hole. So you can get some picks, and then if that front 4 can get home and make him uncomfortable because they're running through zones and running through spaces, you got to give that time to develop. And that's what I think that you're right. If the DC is saying, hey, look, we're going to sit back, we're going to make him play, make him throw the ball to the right spots, and we're going to make sure that he holds on to the ball, and we're going to hope that the pass rush get there. That's what's going to be key for this defense today.
Guy who's going to join us coming up next is Robbie Gould. Let's talk about Gould here in the end of the segment. A lot of the odds are that this is coming down to Robbie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Division opponents, third time around, playoff implications, rookie quarterback. There's all kinds of factors in this one. But the one thing it's nice to know is that you got Robbie Gould. And Robbie Gould is an 18-year veteran. He's connected on 447 field goals, 8th most in NFL history. This year he's 27 of 32. That's 84%, 50 of 51 on PATs, 5th most points of any kicker in football. Number 1, by the way, is Jason Myers of the Seahawks.
Okay.
But Robbie Gould, if it comes down to a big-time pressure kick, I feel comfortable knowing that Robbie Gould's making that kick.
And so do I, Larry. I think that you got a guy who's a veteran guy who's been around, but he's a seasoned vet, but he's also been in tough situations, played, like you said, in Chicago. So now this guy's always ready for the opportunity because he's a pro. Loved Robbie Gould, loves what he brings to the table. So, hey, if it comes down to it, Robbie will deliver.
Yeah, seriously, Robbie Gould. Coming up next, we're going to sit down and let you hear a conversation I had with Robbie. He's a really interesting guy. We both have one thing in common, that we both have 3 boys. And I asked him about, sharing his NFL career with his boys now. He's like, they're fans of Kittle and Bosa and Jimmy.
That's how it goes.
I'm just dad, but it was great catching up with Robbie. And we'll also hear his thoughts on Brock Purdy and Purdy's ascension into the starting role. They really are in the exact same neighborhood in the Niner locker room. And then Eric Davis with Damon and Ratto to follow. All that straight ahead as we continue with the kickoff show. Larry Krueger and Lorenzo Neal on 95.7 The Game.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about that sound? You're listening to a set of GE appliances, complete with all you need to keep food fresh, dishes clean, and everything else stress-free. Making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Get up to 25% off select GE appliances right now. Offer valid January 5th through January 25th, 2023. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
I bet you folks are glad to be done with your shopping. Hopefully, all your gifts went well. But there's one last store to visit, this time just for yourself. Your chance to get one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony TVs at a crazy low price. Where? At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. A great way to end the year. If you don't check out these deals at Video Only, you'll be sorry.
Flying Ace, this is Sky Hunter. I've got my compound eyes on the target.
Copy that. You're on his flight pad.
I'm going in.
Got him! Nice move, my four-wing friend.
Tasty. That mosquito never saw me coming.
See how dragonflies catch a mid-air meal at Bugs, a new exhibit at the California Academy of Sciences. Explore the secrets of bugs, massive models, and more. Now open. Get tickets at calacademy.org.
Flying Ace, This is Sky Hunter. I've got my compound eyes on the target.
Copy that. You're on his flight path.
I'm going in.
Got him! Nice move, my four-wing friend.
Tasty. That mosquito never saw me coming.
See how dragonflies catch a mid-air meal at Bugs, a new exhibit at the California Academy of Sciences. Explore the secrets of bugs, massive models, and more. Now open. Get tickets at calacademy.org.
Hey, it's Jonas Knox. Time for new tires? Trust the experts at TireRack.com. They've been crushing it for over 40 years. Go to TireRack.com/sports. Tell them what you drive. Try their easy-to-use tire decision guide. They'll show you the right tires for how, what, and where you drive. They've got the full line of Sumitomo tires, test results, tire ratings, and consumer reviews. Fast free shipping and free road hazard protection. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
He's the best interview in the Bay Area.
Splish Splash. Coach, are you taking a bath?
Did you hear a little water in the background?
Yeah! He's a 9-time NBA champion.
Not 5, not 6, not 7.
And he's on with Damon and Ratto every single week during the NBA season.
Wow.
It's Warriors head coach Steve Kerr on 95.7 The Game. Presented by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet only from Xfinity.
Investing is confusing. Dawn raids, triple witching hour, candlesticks, crown jewels, bears, bulls, bear hugs, blue chips. It's one big word salad of uncertainty. Fortunately, Fremont Bank now has incredible rates on their savings accounts and CDs. And while savings accounts and CDs may not be known for their great rates at your current bank, at Fremont Bank, you can get great rates from a great local bank. To learn more, stop in or visit us online. We'll explain it all in plain language. Fremont Bank, serving the Bay Area since 1964. Member FDIC.
At Harris Ranch, we do beef, just like we've done for over 50 years. Beef that's raised locally right here in California. The flavor you crave, the quality you trust time after delicious time. Harris Ranch, we do beef.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, over-designed, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code FRIEND at checkout. That's harrys.com, code FRIEND. Enjoy.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now back to the Kickoff Show with Larry Krueger and Lorenzo Neal on 95.7 The Game. Sponsored by Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey. Taste the world's #1 bourbon. And by Harris Ranch Beef. Legendary beef, legendary quality.
All right, we're in the Niner locker room with Robbie Gould, Niners veteran kicker, and playoff football. You've played in a lot of playoff games. If you were advising, there are a lot of young guys going through this for the first time. What would you advise them? What would you say to them?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, everyone's going to play through the whistle. It's going to be a little bit more faster speed. But I think they've felt that transition from preseason to regular season too. So I think the biggest thing is knowing that it is a football game. There's a lot at stake, but knowing that if we play clean, trust your techniques, fundamentals, and enjoy the atmosphere, usually you're going to play pretty well.
You played in Chicago, so you've seen all the weather. But rain, like it's going to be a rainy day, sloppy field. Like, how does your routine change? Does it change at all when it's raining?
I will a little bit. Obviously, I've been keeping an eye on the weather report. We just checked it about 5 minutes ago. It doesn't look like it's going to be as bad as what it was first projected to be. But that could always change. There's a storm coming in before and there's a storm after. So we'll just adjust on the fly. And we have certain things that we'll do from practice perspective and pregame to make sure that we got all our bases covered to make all our kicks.
John Lynch invested a lot in this offseason in the special teams. Orrin Burks, Ray, really a number of guys, that George Odom, and I think it's paid off. What do you think?
Well, I think it starts with the coordinator. Obviously, Coach Schneider coming in here, installing his schemes, which are very simple. We play very fast. We're playing very physical. Then you couple that with investing in Mitch Wisnowski long term. You have a Tabor Pepper who's been here for a while, who's done a great job. You go and get guys like George Odom, and that's very versatile and being able to play PP. He can play gunner. Obviously, he's one of our leading tacklers, so he's doing a lot in a lot of different phases. You have a guy like OB, who's really solid in all phases, and then you pair him with a Flanagan Fowles. It's kind of hard to stop those guys. So, I think you have to invest in it if you want to do well. But you have to play complementary football, and that's all three phases.
The feeling in here is obviously good. You guys have won 10 in a row. How would you describe this season? I mean, you started off 3-4, and then all of a sudden now you look up at 13-4 and a lot of momentum. There's obviously a shift there. How did you see it this season?
Well, the 10-game win streak doesn't mean anything now. It just got you to the dance. So I think if you look at where we were week 1 to where we are now, we're a totally different team than what the season started to be, right? We're on our third string QB. He's been playing great. Hopefully, obviously, we think that that's going to continue. You have a lot of different guys contributing at a lot of different places. Probably one of the biggest unsung heroes for our season is Jordan Willis. Bringing him in off the suspension and being able to play at a high level in special teams and defense. I mean, you get guys like that playing at a high level. The team's probably going to do pretty well.
Do you remember your first playoff game?
Yeah, it was in 2005. I think we lost to the Carolina Panthers as a 1 or 2 seed, and then came back the following year and made a Super Bowl run. So you always kind of remember those losses. They sting a little bit more. But it's also those situations that you learn from because you don't make the same mistakes twice.
What do you know now that you didn't know back then when you were going into it for the first time?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is, like, if I didn't make the playoffs, I'd always try to go to a playoff game at some capacity. My brother's a coach. He's been coaching, I think, 6 years now. As a special teams assistant coach. So he made a run in Denver. He actually won the Super Bowl here in our stadium. But, I think just being in the atmosphere. I went to a Bears-Eagles game, just being able to understand what that feels like and be in the magnitude so that it didn't feel unfamiliar. Because I think I made the playoffs in 2010 and then didn't make it again until 16 with the Giants. So there's a lot of lag time in there, which you want to make sure that you still feel what that pressure is. You want to feel what the environment is, see what the guys are going through, and then just enjoy it. That's what it's all about.
Kickers, I would imagine, have more of a routine maybe than some other position players. What is your game day ritual? Do you have one or several, or what do you like to do?
For a kicker, for me specifically, my routine doesn't change. And the only reason for that is I have to play playoff football every day. I don't get many opportunities to go out there and play, and those plays affect the game. So for me, I've always, from preseason till now, my preparation is to win football games and make sure that I give our team the best chance to win. And, if you miss a field goal, that's possibly the game that you don't get in the playoffs, right? Whether it's a tiebreaker or whatever. So for me and as a specialist, you have to play playoff football the whole season if you want to keep your job, because there's only 32 of us. So I think this team is, it's kind of fun to be around. These opportunities don't come around very often. So hopefully we make a special run and have a lot of fun along the way.
I have 4 kids, and they're all older now. I mean, my youngest is 13. You probably have some kids. What kind of size family do you have?
I have 3 boys, 9, 7, and 4.
So they're now cognizant of who you are, what you're doing. Does it change anything for you?
It's kind of cool because I'm just dad, right? So my kids don't look at me as playing football. They look at Bosa and George and Christian McCaffrey and some of these guys as their heroes, right? But for me, it's been awesome. Not many people can say they get to play this long. 18 years in the NFL. I've been to 4 NFC championships. I've been to 2 Super Bowls. Fell short in 2 NFC championships by pretty much a play, either way. So I've been thankful to have those runs and those opportunities, but to be able to share that with my kids, and now they're older than the last time we went to the Super Bowl, so they remember it, but hopefully we'll be throwing some confetti at the end of this run.
In this locker room, for people who have never been in here, your locker is situated next to Ross Dwelly and also right next to Brock, and it was pretty cavernous over here in the early part of the season, but there's a lot of room now. It's probably a lot more people around here. What's this corner of the locker room been like in the last 8 weeks? And also, give me your thoughts on Brock. He's doing a real nice job.
Well, one, it's the cleanest area of the locker room,
Okay.
and it's meant to stay that way, right? When I first got here, my locker was actually on the other side of the locker room, and there's a bunch of younger kids down here. So I actually moved my locker down here in the corner where everyone kind of comes and goes, right? So I could see everyone, say hello to everyone, kind of get to know them because I was on a new team. And then obviously, there's Dre Greenlaw, you get interviewed all the time. Then you have Hafinga, then, Boza, like it just kind of keeps going around this area, right? And then for Purdy, I'm happy for him, the way that he's prepared from when he got in here after the draft to, being behind guys like Trey and Jimmy and just learning the offense. I mean, this is not an easy offense to learn, right? But he's doing a great job. He's managing the game really well. He's not making big mistakes, and you see what he goes through every day. In here early, out late, taking care of his body, studying, meeting with Kyle, doing things that he needs to do to be successful, and you're seeing that pay off. And he's got an awesome story. He's an awesome kid. I mean, he's Mr. Irrelevant to now, being one of the only quarterbacks in NFL history when his first 5 starts. So I hope he goes 9-0 personally.
Right.
But I think, what he's put into it, he's reaping the benefits of how hard he works.
When did you know that this kid's got something?
Well, you could definitely see it in the preseason. You could see it in OTAs. Obviously when guys get in here, their head spins a little bit, but you could always see that he kind of had, that demeanor about himself, that he was confident what he was doing. He's going to figure out how to run the offense. He made some awesome throws against our defense in practice, and he played really well in games. So again, it just speaks to the level of how much and how hard he worked to get to where he's at. And if somebody would have told you Brock Purdy was going to lead us into the playoffs and be part of half of the 10-game winning streak, I think they would have told you were crazy. But I think it's kind of unique because I think the team also rallied around him too. And you're seeing kind of the closeness and guys playing together, playing for one another. And, it's Trey and Jimmy have been there to help him. And, that's what you want. And that's why there's such a great culture here. And that's why we've been in the playoffs for the last 4 years.
2 last ones. Underrated player in the room. Give me somebody in this room that you think's, man, this guy's really good, and nobody really says anything about it.
Jordan Willis for sure is probably one of them on the defense. On the offensive side of the football, I'm going to go Juwan Jennings. I think what the energy he brings and what he's been able to do and making some really key catches and getting some yak yards to get some first downs in very, very key times of the game. And then on special teams, I'm going to go with Flanagan Fowles. I think he's a guy who doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. I think he was second on our team in tackles, but can play in a lot of different positions. And then I'd probably put Charlie Warner in there as well. I think what he's been able to do on special teams for us at the 3 on kickoff, the versatility of punt, being able to play pretty much every position, and then being able to move him around on guys in matchups on punt return. So I would say those are the 4 guys that I would say is probably people deserve a little bit more credit to give them.
That's an interesting one, man, with Charlie Warner. Last one. This room's very united. I've been in a lot of NFL locker rooms, and this is a more united group than most. And you've had 3 different quarterbacks, and you would think that there would be some fractures and that there would be divisions, but that hasn't happened in here. And I'm just kind of wondering, you're a veteran of NFL battles, in NFL rooms. How has this group stayed together through all the division that comes in the media, guys like us talking about the quarterback?
Yeah, I think a lot of it just comes down to the culture here. I was one of the first free agent signings with John and Kyle. When I got here, we obviously weren't very good. We were trying to weed out the guys that didn't fit the culture. We were trying to sign guys that could come in and change the culture. We won 6 games after starting 0-9, which is kind of unheard of. And then you started seeing some of that build up. We had a lot of injuries in the second year, but you saw the right guys coming in, working hard, learning the systems. And then in 19, we had the group, and you have that same core here now, right? And those guys being Boza, George Kittle, Jimmy G, even to Trent Williams being an addition later, but you have McGlinchey. You have a lot of guys in here that have been what I'll call the core to building what that culture is. So, I think I'll for sure say it starts with ownership. If you look at kind of the history since Mrs. D and Jed have taken over, they've made a lot of deep runs in the playoffs. I think they've been in 5 NFC championships in 12 years and 2 Super Bowls, which, that doesn't just happen because they just sit up in a chair and be like, oh, I'll take this guy, right? It has everything to do with, Tuesdays on off days, being in the community with, we'll have 25 guys in the community. You have massage therapists, you have acupuncturists, you have every stretch person known to mankind. It's just investing in the team and the people to get the best out of them. And, I think this place is definitely at the top of the list of why they're so successful so frequently.
Yeah, very cool perspective. Thanks for your time, man.
Yeah,
Good luck to you guys.
Good seeing you guys. All the best.
Normally, we go inside the 49ers locker room to talk to a current 49er, but Niners said, hey, it's the postseason. We're not doing interviews. We're not doing interviews with you. We're not doing interviews with anyone, so you can forget about that. So I said, well, let's go inside the 49ers locker room with a man who used to dress from inside the 49ers locker room, presented by Harris Ranch Beef, legendary quality. Shop all your local Rayleigh's, Bel Air, and Nob Hill Supermarket for all of your tailgate needs. 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time Super Bowl champ, Eric Davis. How are you, man? It's been a long time since we said hello.
Hey, man, I'm doing well. Glad I can help you guys out since the important people couldn't come by.
No. You're very important, and let me tell you, it's good to talk to you once again, and at the end of this, you're even going to get some steaks. So it just works out for everyone. Lucas is able to book a guest attached to the Niners. We're able to feed you before the entire day is over, so everyone walks away happy, which is rare from this radio show, if you don't mind me saying.
Well, you know what? It's excellent. It's always good to talk to you guys, man. It's always good.
So Seattle, as I was saying earlier, Eric, they're the team that no one expected. No one expected them to even be talented this year. No one expected them to be relevant. Nobody expected them to be in the playoffs, that's for sure. Nobody expected them to even show up in the playoffs because everyone was thinking, well, at Lambeau, the Packers are going to beat the Lions and good night, Seattle. But no, here they are still. How surprised are you that Seattle has managed to arrive in this moment? And then we'll get to the Niners, obviously, but they seem like a fish out of water, which makes them weird and dangerous in some way.
Well, I'm not that surprised, believe it or not. I don't know if you know, I went to training camp with Seattle. I was there the entire training camp. Pete Carroll invited me up, and I sort of hung out and saw the philosophy of what was going on. And I was there as a coach, so I was there sort of seeing how he wanted to implement the plan for this year. And I'm not surprised because day one, before the players ever even showed up, he basically said, this is the type year we're going to have. This is how we're going to have to win. This is the core group. These are the players. And for us to do anything, they're going to have to buy into this mindset of playing ball, playing it a certain way, playing it ugly, and understanding that at the end of the day, I'll take every second, but plan on winning. And you're winning, and his mindset is that you're winning from ahead or you're winning from behind, but you're winning, and you're going to get there ultimately. So that's why I'm kind of not shocked, because I saw him sort of put it in place with the guys doing training camp, and then things worked out for them because they fought just hard enough. Now, with that being said, I mean, it's not going to be enough against the Niners, but, to answer the question, I'm not shocked that they were able to squeeze every ounce out of themselves because they sort of went into the year expecting it. How some clubs, I played on some teams where we went in and it was like we would look at the schedule during training camp and like, all right, we'll be, 14-2. Or man, 13-3. We'll mess up somewhere. That's how we used to look at it. But these guys are like, we got to fight. So that's how the club is built. But as I said, it's just not enough to play the Niners right now.
I get why you would feel that way about the Seahawks in October when they won 5 out of 6. But right after that, they lost 5 out of 6. Did you start seeing that belief that Pete Carroll had inculcated in them was suddenly fading? Or was it just the vagaries of a team that's not as talented as its final record would show?
They're an average ball club, and they had it's a young ball club, and they were having to grow, having to learn how to play. And I'm telling you, he was preaching to them early on that those days were coming. No matter what happened, enjoy the high times, but the low ones are coming. And how do you respond to those? What do you learn? When things are bad, okay, now let's have some fun and figure out how to do things with this cloud hanging over our heads. And I mean, there are still guys, and I, like I said, I was having conversations throughout the year. There are guys on that coaching staff that I talk to regularly. They still believe that was the way they had to approach it and teach it because it's such a young ball club. That Legion of Boom and that crew, they're gone. So he's trying to reestablish what's there, and ownership have given him an opportunity to reestablish his philosophy in it. So that's what they were doing. So, I wasn't that concerned about it. I wasn't there, but did they believe that, okay, if they keep fighting, they'd have a chance? Yeah, they did. I mean, it's not, I'm not making it up. Those guys actually, they were preaching it, and the players bought into it. And that's really all that sort of matters. You got to believe in the system. You got to see it work. And once you see it work as a player, you will then buy in, and you'll do it because you believe the guys that are setting the plan know what they're talking about.
Super Bowl champion Eric Davis here on 95.7 The Game with Damon and Ratto. So let's talk about the position that you mastered when you played, and tell me a little bit about why Mooney Ward, Charvarius Ward, is, Christian McCaffrey, without a doubt, the best in-season pickup, the best off-season decision that this team made was adding him. He's been spectacular.
Yeah. When they first signed him, I said that was a good signing. I knew it. When everybody was talking about getting players, I said I thought this guy, and I believe that if E-Man, I said it early on. I mean, you can go back and check the receipts where I said if they stayed healthy, they at the end of the year, you'd be looking at this secondary as one of the best in the league. They'd be in that argument of that best in the league argument. But because I knew that this was a player that they brought in that was ready to take that leap. He's consistent in what he needs to do. He's technically sound. He's tough. He's nasty. He likes the challenge. He's a gunfighter. But playing corner, man, you got to be. It's a gunfighter's mentality. That's truly how it is. If you're going to last at the position, play the position well. But what I mean by that gunfighter's mentality is that going into it, you can walk off your paces, but sooner or later, a bullet's gonna hit you. You're gonna turn. You're gonna fire. You're gonna get shot from time to time. But that true gunfighter, no, even if I catch a slug, I'm gonna still get my shot off, and you're going down with me.
So the guy I'm
gonna shoot my shot every time, and that's who he is.
The guy who's been catching the most amount of strays by design is Diamador Lenore. He gets picked on week in, week out. As I've been saying, there is no shame in being the weak link on a defense this good. I mean, somebody has to be the person to attack on this defense. And through no fault of Diamador Lenore, it's him. I still think, though, he does a pretty good job more often than not. When you look at him, what do you see in Diamador Lenore, or is this a guy who just unfortunately gets to wear the dunce cap in every single offensive meeting that every opponent has?
Well, number one, he's not a weak link. You just said it. You have the number one defense in the league. There aren't weak links. You don't get there if you have a weak link. he's going to give up more plays because you just touched on it. He's going to give up. He's going to see more action. So if it's just bottom line, it's like a receiver that gets more balls thrown to him is going to have more drops. It doesn't. You'll look at the catch, but see that's what happens. No one pays attention to the catches. They'll start to worry about the drops, and that's what happens. You start to look at this guy. Well, he's given up some plays. Like the last game, he gave up one play, but then what happened after that? He played well. He's going to give some things up, and let's remember, two things. Number one, he's young. He's got to grow. The last game, his eyes got him in trouble. The same thing's happening with Huff. Huff is a really good player. I think Huff is going to be a great player, but he's bad eyes right now, and that happens when you're a young player because there are a lot of things that you have to learn and how to see and how to distinguish when they're trying to make it look just alike. What's the difference? Those things are going to happen. When you're in position, one of the most frustrating things as a young player is when you're in position is finishing. Why didn't I finish that play? And I see that in Lenore where he even back on the ball with Green his last game. He got back into position, didn't finish the play. So all of those things will happen. He's young, and he has to learn. He has to learn how to finish in that aspect. So we just got to let him grow. And and as I said, he's going to get those other opportunities because he is the other guy. You brought in Mooney. Everyone was going to test him early to see if he's really that guy, and now he shows he's that dude. So you're going to get those 38's going to get the plays. And then the other thing, remember, he's out of position. He's not an outside corner. They didn't draft him to be an outside corner. And so many people are mad at him. Like I said before, you should be mad at Ambry Thomas. That's the guy that they drafted to be outside. Lenore is not even in position. I mean, you got two guys in Jimmy Ward and Lenore that are out of position, really, and you still end up with the number one defense. So I don't really think there's a weak link on this defense. Why I keep going back to saying that I don't see Seattle winning this game. The only thing that I think helps them in this game is that weather is going to be one of those type days that the weather is a thing, and I don't think it's an issue. Of course, you play football in the rain, but Kyle tends to call a much more conservative game. History says he calls a conservative game when there's weather, and that worries me.
Is there a path for the Seahawks on Saturday other than the weather creating 4 turnovers for them?
No. For Seattle to win this game, they have to have. This is where it is. You've played 17 games over 18 weeks. Seattle has shown that they are an average football team. Over that same amount of time, the 49ers have shown that they are a very good football team. They now have an opportunity to show that they can be a great football team, but they have shown they are a very good football team. For Seattle to have a chance to win this game, of course, they played a game, so they have a chance. But for Seattle to win this game, they have to have a perfect game, and the Niners have to have a bad day, a really bad day. And it will still be close, and the Niners should win that game. I just don't see how they can win the game because the 49ers simply have more talent. Their X's are better than the other team's O's across the board. So they're better at every matchup that's going to matter in this game. I don't see how they can win it.
Eric Davis here on 95.7 The Game. I just want you to go back to your playing days and let me ask you this question. Forget about the names involved. Forget about the uniforms involved. I tell you, Eric, you are a starting corner today in a playoff game against a third-string quarterback. You just got to be licking your chops no matter who that is, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But also remember this: if you're talking about Purdy's the backup. He's not the third. He's not the third string. He's the first backup that played because Trey Lance isn't a backup and Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't a backup. This is the first backup that played for them, and he's playing like a backup because the thing about this offense is that it's not quarterback centric. You need the guy to make some plays, and he's able to make some plays. He's much more athletic than Jimmy, and he's able to extend plays and make plays with his legs. He was playing with house money. I said that day one on my podcast, the first time he came in, I was like, I'm fine. I just need to see him play one game after the Miami game because that was the perfect week for him to come in. He had been running his offense the entire week. And then I said, next week, let me see. He came in, he played. I was like, oh, he's fine. He's doing what I wanted the backup to do, come in, be able to run the offense and spread the ball around. And I said, he's playing with house money. Like, when you win 2 games, you're in the playoffs, house money. Now, the end zones are red. When the end zones turn red, now it's time for him to be a legend. It's your team. You are running it now. So the backup, and so you're licking your chops and all of this stuff, he's proven he can play. But, me, I would have been like, okay, we got a shot. Because the DB room I was in, guys would have been already placing bets on who was going to do what and everything else. It costs you a whole lot if you let other guys get interceptions in that room. But with Purdy going into this game, looking at it from the Seattle Seahawks standpoint, I don't think they're going to view it like this is a third string guy at all, because he's playing far too well. And he's already beaten them, which again it makes Seattle the perfect. I'm so happy. I know people don't like playing a team 3 times in a year, but I'm so happy we're playing Seattle because you got your rookie quarterback, his first playoff game, red end zone, and he gets to go to sleep the night before knowing that he's about to face a team that he's already beaten. So he's going to sleep well. I love it.
So, Eric, let's just wrap up. It sounds like you definitely got him over Seattle for a lot of reasons that you have, shared with us. Let's say they even win the next game. Who is the one team you would want to see in the NFC title game? Who's the one team you don't want to see in the NFC title game?
I don't care who's in it. The 49ers are the best team. There's no one in it. The 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. There's no one in the NFC that can beat them. The only team that I don't want to see, is Kansas City. And not simply because of what happened this year or the Super Bowl. It's beyond that. Football's a game of matchups. When you get to that level, when you get the really, really good teams playing together, just like I was saying this game right now, the X's and O's are all in the Niners' favor versus Seattle.
He believes
we don't match up well against the Chiefs.
No.
That's why I don't want to play the Chiefs. So I'm thinking about the Super Bowl. I'm not thinking about the NFC. There's no one in the NFC that can beat the 49ers.
I mean, Eric Davis says print the T-shirts. They're going to the big game. He believes. The podcast is called Believe in 49ers Podcast. Eric Davis, thank you so much for joining us today. And I told you, we had a little something here at the end of it for you. Our friends at Harris Ranch Beef are going to send you, for representing the Niners today, 10 pounds of prime steaks, and you get to choose your own cut. Are you going to be grilling up the ribeyes, the porterhouses, or the New York strip steaks?
Oh, man. Okay. Since you didn't give me filet, I'll go with the ribeyes.
Do you know that if you go porterhouse, you get a filet on that one side?
I do know that. Yes, I do know that, but it's just different.
It is different. You're right. No, you're right, because you're looking for a filet that's like 4 or 5 inches thick, and these aren't those. So
yeah.
When in doubt, you go ribeye.
I will not be sad when I see those ribeyes on the grill.
No, he won't be, and we certainly weren't sad to see your name on the guest list today. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Great to catch up with you. Enjoy the playoffs, and I guess we'll see you in the Super Bowl, baby.
All right. I'll be there. Because the Niners will be there.
Hey, what's up? Mark Willard here for the Game Time app, the absolute best way to find your way into the hottest games, concerts, and events in your area at the last minute. My son actually turned me on to the Game Time app. He used it to get into a Padres-Giants game in San Diego this year. He's 15. He was like, Dad, I can get into this game tomorrow for like $15. I told him, you should do it. The Game Time app offers amazing last-minute deals on tickets, and with the NFL playoffs right around the corner, the Game Time app is where you'll want to be. But it's not only pro sports. I was looking at the app today to find Louis C.K. tickets. Ed Sheeran is coming to town. All the events, all in one spot with great deals. Game Time is the fastest growing ticketing app in the nation, and with these deals, it is no surprise. So download the Game Time app Enter your email and redeem code The Game for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Once again, enter your email and redeem code The Game for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
I bet you folks are glad to be done with your shopping. Hopefully, all your gifts went well. But there's one last store to visit, this time just for yourself. Your chance to get one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony TVs at a crazy low price. Where? At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. A great way to end the year. If you don't check out these deals at Video Only, you'll be sorry.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, Maria in Miami, and Jules in Troy, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with high-quality supplies for every industry, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get back to business and start the year strong with an HP printer from Staples, like the HP LaserJet MFP M234 SDWE printer. This compact multifunction printer features blazing fast print speeds. It's the fastest two-sided printer in its class. Plus, with the HP Smart app, you can print, scan, and copy from anywhere. And Staples has the best deals on a full range of HP printers. Right now, save up to $100 on the HP LaserJet. But hurry, this offer is good this week only. Offer good in-store and online. Ends 1/14.
In the conversation for Coach of the Year, I'm sorry, did anybody have Seattle making the playoffs this year?
No, but I think that, well, we'll talk about that. Go ahead, Be Fair.
Yeah, Ephraim. So, as we mentioned, the game coming up, as you guys were talking about, it's just a matter of moments away, seconds away, minutes away from kicking off in Santa Clara, where the 49ers will be going up against the Seahawks here to kick off NFL wildcard weekend. Field conditions a bit wet, expecting some more rain in the forecast. Even thunderstorms could present an issue, which then brings up the potential threat of lightning. We haven't gotten there yet, but we'll obviously keep our eyes on that, as that one is soon to kick off. Also, later on today, 8:15 Eastern, on the AFC side of things, the Chargers will be going toe-to-toe with the Jaguars, and LA wide receiver Mike Williams is not going to play. Was initially questionable, but now they're saying he has officially been ruled out for this game. That's a big blow for Los Angeles, and the temperatures are in the low 50s for this one. They're predicting slightly cloudy conditions and no rain, so not as much a factor that the weather will be in that contest. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin, less than 2 weeks removed from having his heart stop, showed up at the team facility today for the first time since being hospitalized. Social media took their pictures from his teammates showing that he was there shaking hands and getting together with his teammates. Good sign from him, and what a morale booster that had to have been. Fox's Peter Schrager is reporting former Arizona Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury bought a one-way ticket to Thailand and is telling all of these NFL teams who want him to be their offensive coordinator that he's not interested, and that he is focused on his one-way ticket to Thailand and I guess deprogramming out there. In college basketball, I'll leave you with this, guys. A couple of quick mentions. I know that Ephraim's getting pretty excited about his San Diego State Aztecs taking on New Mexico. A top 25 team are the Aztecs. That one won't get started until 9 p.m. Eastern time. But we do have a couple finals. How about this upset? Indiana beating number 18 Wisconsin 63-45. And lastly, Ephraim and Steve, Kentucky. Did they need this win or what? On the road, they take down number 5 Tennessee 63-56. You could feel, Ephraim and Steve, that the pressure looming around John Calipari about how long is he going to stay, considering the struggles that his team has been facing. But that definitely was a must-win, if there was one, at this stage of the season for Coach Cal.
By the way, I was looking at one of the prominent bracketologies for the tournament. This week, they have my UCLA Bruins as a 2 seed, your Aztecs as a 7 seed in the same region, facing in the second round.
Gonna blow the doors off y'all. Y'all do not want that.
So we were talking about this.
First of all, 7 seeds disrespectful.
If Ephraim and I were sitting here and we had a UCLA San Diego State NCAA tournament game going on.
So you got to do the show by yourself, B-Fan.
We would have you, basically, and Iowa Sam, Danny G, whoever. because there's no way.
Well, we would be at the game, number one. If UCLA is playing San Diego
I think the game
State,
will be in Sacramento. That's where the
we
region
there.
will be. Yes.
Come on, man.
The show is over.
Side by
Goodbye.
side. Yeah. I mean, but I saw that and I'm like, oh, if only. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be
Well, we won't be a 7th seed, so I don't know if.
Well, you're moving up a little bit. You're starting to get some wins now. Come on now.
Starting to get some wins. What?
UCLA is going to be a 1 seed here shortly. They've won 12 in a row. Brian, we'll talk to you a little bit later on. Great stuff as always. All right, so the game is now underway. We just got it underway. Seattle has the ball first as they are 9.5-point dogs to this 49er team on a 10-game winning streak. How much of what the 49ers are doing now is Brock Purdy as opposed to just the addition of Christian McCaffrey? You mentioned Nick Bosa, Defensive Player of the Year most likely. George Kittle, by the way, has fallen in love with Brock Purdy. Has 7 touchdowns in the last 4 games. But right now, as we enter these playoffs, are the 49ers not just the hottest team in the NFC? Are they the hottest team in the NFL?
Well, they're the hottest team in the league. I think the thing that they have really going for them, offensive side, is the defense. They went on a stretch where they didn't allow any points in the second half, or 7 points in like 5-6 games in the second half. If you can do that, I don't care who you got playing offense, as they come in and get a sack on Geno Smith right then and there as we speak, right? Big Armstead, Eaton, right? Like, and you got to remember, he was hurt for a good stretch of the season. Now you put him and Bosa on the same side, one-on-one. There's no way an offensive line can pick that up. This is why San Francisco is the best team in the league, because they consistently do it on both sides of the ball. Who else does that? Not Kansas City.
Buffalo?
Buffalo.
We've been
Buffalo
talking.
give you something.
The thing about Buffalo this year was they would just have games, and we were talking about midseason malaise, where they just seem to be going through the motions.
Yes.
But I think when Buffalo is playing at their peak level, they have the ability to dominate on both sides of the football. By the way, did you see that feature piece on Nick Bosa's diet? The new diet he came into this season with? So, you know, when you play in the NFL, when you're playing, you know, this big boy football, you got to have some carbs, man. You need some carbs in your body. He went on a lower carb diet, it was like 50% protein, 30% carbs, 20% fat. He got cut. And you know what he said? He was reviewing film of last year, and he kept saying, how many times was I a step short of making that sack? Like 1 step short. Guess what? With the leaner body, a little different stance that he's using this year, half second quicker to the quarterback. And a half second's the difference between being close and getting the quarterback down on the ground. And that's the kind of season he has had this year. So right now we have Brock Purdy.
You taking notes? I'm about to do that diet starting now.
Yeah, so 50% protein, 30% carbs, 20% fat. A lot of people are saying that's not good for a football player.
Well,
it's working for Nick Bosa.
And everybody, you know, when you have people weighing in on your diets and all, everybody's different. Everybody's body is different. It's up to you as the individual to know what your body needs for optimum success. And obviously he knows.
It's working unbelievable for him. So now the 49ers have the ball, and immediately Brock Purdy gets the ball into Seattle territory.
Yeah, he was a little high on his first pass to Deebo Samuels on the drag route, but now he finds Brandon Ayuk on a quick, in cut, about 15-yard pass in the rain. Great for a young quarterback to feel that first completion, weather not affecting the grip on the ball. All of these things will play into him having a good game.
There's so many examples of quarterbacks like this who seemingly come out of nowhere in their rookie season, and all of a sudden they're in the playoffs. We had Tom Brady, obviously. How about Kurt Warner?
Deebo Samuels down the sideline.
Down inside the 15-yard line. So they are rolling. Well, actually, 25-yard line, excuse me.
It's a problem.
Kurt Warner, his first playoff game, when a lot of people thought, is this Kurt Warner guy for real? 391 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, look, the thing with the quarterback position that we've seen over the history of the position, like those first picks in the draft, they're very few. that turn out to be Peyton Manning, right? There are very few that turn out to be John Elway. There are more also rans, they're more Ryan Leaf than Peyton Manning, in terms of first round draft picks, first pick in the draft. The bulk of the quarterbacks, and they don't come from huge dynamic schools. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you can find talent in the quarterback position. The key for that is bringing them into the right system and the development. That is the key. I think Trevor Lawrence was the last guy at the quarterback position where you were like, oh, this is the generational kid.
Right.
And we saw what happened when you mix greatness with bad ingredients from the coaching. You about to ruin this young man's career.
Well, we've seen it early on in the careers of Troy Aikman, John Elway, Peyton Manning's first year. They were 3-13. By the way, I saw an interview with Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy looking in the end zone. Ooh, good defense. No flag? No flag. All right, good play.
They're going for it. I tell you what, San Francisco has come out. They're not trying to manage Brock Purdy.
No.
They're letting him throw the ball down the field.
Well, that's been a little bit of the deception that, he's just been basically dinking and dunking all over the place. Not true. Since he became the starting quarterback of the 49ers, his downfield percentage is amongst the highest in the league. Mm-hmm. So he has shown, he's an unbelievable Brock Purdy. I wouldn't even have known Brock Purdy had it not been for Iowa Sam, because a year ago, Iowa State was number 7 preseason AP poll because they had all these returning players, including Breece Hall, and Brock Purdy was a 4th-year starting quarterback. He got worse every year at Iowa State. He was one of those guys that was a 4-year starter where his numbers actually sort of went down each year instead of going up, which is part of the reason why he fell so far in the draft. But now all of a sudden he's looking pretty good. All right,
man, I tell you what, it doesn't, I think the onus, when we talk about Coach of the Year,
mm-hmm.
I think there are a lot of teams, Brian Daboll,
mm-hmm.
I think even Dan Campbell, what he's done in Detroit. There are a lot of teams, like you said, you mentioned Pete Carroll.
Doug Peterson,
tremendous job. But the only team I think with a high seed who has a coach that should be considered for the Coach of the Year are the San Francisco 49ers.
All right, so they went for it on 3rd and 3, incomplete pass. This was not a great pass by Verdi.
No, it's a terrible pass.
He missed underneath coverage, so got knocked away. 4th and 3, you going to go for it? Or just kick the field goal and let's move on?
You get the points.
Field goal team is on.
You get the points. You're going to have to – any points you get for the San Francisco 49ers are going to put extreme pressure on Seattle. You don't ever want to let them off the hook. If you kick all field goals – right? If at halftime, if it's, 12-0, then you just take every field goal you get and you put the pressure and the onus on Seattle on the road in the rain against the number 1 defense in the league.
Yeah.
That's coaching.
I agree. But that's again, that's the way it should be done. You and I are on the same page as far as taking a field goal once in a while instead of going for it and leaving points off the board potentially. All right, we have got a lot of things going on around the NFL, especially when it comes to, no shock here, the quarterback position. We got the latest on one very prominent name that could very likely be looking for a new home next season. Who is it? You're going to find out. This is Fox Football Saturday.
Now remember, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, IG, you name it, we're on it.
How is that possible?
Search at Fox Sports Radio.
It'll be great.
And for you sweet talkers out there, yeah, you, we're on Tinder too and Grindr.
Chains and whips.
This is Fox Sports Radio.
For wild card round action, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is the place to go. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all customers can get a no-sweat bet each day of the wild card round this weekend. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code UPONGAME. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly. That's code UPONGAME only at DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario and Ohio. Bonus issued as free bets. One free bet issued based on amount of initial losing NFL bet up to $10. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Eligibility and terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football term.
I bet you folks are glad to be done with your shopping. Hopefully, all your gifts went well. But there's one last store to visit, this time just for yourself. Your chance to get one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony TVs at a crazy low price. Where? At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. A great way to end the year. If you don't check out these deals at Video Only, you'll be sorry.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. Make the switch to green soaps and personal products, and green cleaning products for the sink and shower. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Come into Friedman's Appliance and see the full line of Fisher & Paykel appliances. Experience them in person in live vignettes, including their famous dish drawer dishwasher and unique sizes of refrigeration designed to fit seamlessly into your kitchen space. Fisher & Paykel products deliver perfect results with exceptional design and performance. And for a limited time, receive up to a $2,000 rebate when you purchase a qualifying Fisher & Paykel kitchen package from Friedman's Appliance. Visit Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill or online at friedmansappliance.com.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Let me guess. Unknown caller? You could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection. The latest innovation from Discover will help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And we'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection.
Shop limited time deals at the Truckload event at Lowe's, happening now. Save big on your favorites across the store. During this event, get up to 50% off select tools and accessories. Plus, find the perfect floor tile for your home for less. Get up to 50% off select styles while you can. Head to your local Lowe's store or visit Lowes.com to shop the Truckload event today. Valid 12/29 through 1/25 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowes.com for details. Discount taken at time of purchase.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income with almost half the money saved? You heard that right. Get a discount on your retirement, creating a six-figure income with 40% less than traditional 401ks and mutual funds. Hi, I'm Brett Kitchen, best-selling author and star in a new Hollywood documentary called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. In this film, economists and Nobel Prize-winning PhDs from Wharton, MIT, and Stanford share a strange concept I call the retirement discount. It gives you more retirement income with the same dollars saved, and your money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you're over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement with less money, call to get a free copy of this brand new movie, The Baby Boomer Dilemma, at 1-800-506-2020. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you'll get it completely free, plus 2 hours of bonus behind-the-scenes footage. I'll even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. So don't delay, call right now, 1-800-506-2020. That's 1-800-506-2020, 1-800-506-2020.
Get up to $26,000 of ERC money for every employee you had in 2020 and 21 that qualifies. You qualify if you satisfy either one of these two tests. The easy way, your gross revenue drops a certain amount. The complex way, a full or partial closure of your business, a facts and circumstances test. You could only use the inside of your business up to 25% of capacity. Even an essential business like a food store had a 75% partial closure, or supply chain disruptions, or limits on the number of people you could have in an area, or many other possible factors. Beware of companies that only consider the easy way and avoid the complex way, and also companies that fraudulently say everybody qualifies, especially companies that only just recently came into existence and then can disappear. We've been practicing tax law for over 30 years. Call Moskowitz LLP at 888-TAX-DEAL. That's 888-TAX-DEAL. 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com. MOSKOWITZ-LLP.com.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Injured. And it's nothing beyond that. He just isn't ready to play. That being said, the Ravens have to make a decision right now because you're staring at a franchise tag that would be huge. Now, the Seahawks, by the way, have already announced that if they can't get a deal done with Geno Smith, they will use the franchise tag on Geno.
I think they'll be able to get a deal done with Geno, though.
They should be able to.
Yeah,
I mean, they finally got an opportunity.
Yeah, I think Geno understands as Christian McCaffrey takes off down the field.
And he is running and running and running, and he is going down to inside the 20-yard line.
Yes. That was.
You think that Christian McCaffrey was a nice addition for this 49er offense?
When they got Christian McCaffrey, I said, the rest of the league is in trouble.
I mean, when you're a coach like Kyle Shanahan, you got all these ideas offensively, and look at that gaping hole in that
Lord,
defensive
you could have
front.
ran through that hole.
There was nobody close to him.
Lord.
That was literally a 10-yard hole that he ran through and down the sidelines for a big run for McCaffrey.
When Christian McCaffrey was like 6 years old, man, 4 years. It's crazy watching him.
Did you play with his dad?
I played with the great Ed McCaffrey. Yes, I did.
Wow. Back in the day with the Broncos.
Broncos, man.
Yeah.
I love his wife, Lisa, his brothers, everybody, man. Great family.
By the way, I met Kyle Shanahan when he was 8 years old, when his dad got the Raiders job.
I met Kyle when he was a young man as well. You know, let
me ask you this: if you
I love watching these young men.
You never know.
Grow and evolve. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's get back to this Lamar Jackson situation with the Ravens. If you're the Ravens right now, and we know when he's on the field, Lamar Jackson is a difference maker. He's been a league MVP. He's been an all-pro. 49ers are about to get to the end zone. They're inside the 3-yard line. Are you going to pay the price on that franchise
They're not
tag?
going to franchise him because he's not going to play on their franchise. They screwed the pooch, right?
Well, he doesn't have a choice.
Well, they didn't pick up.
I mean, you franchise tag a guy, he sits out the year?
I understand. Why wouldn't he? It happens. Like Lamar has shown, Lamar's at a point right now where he's like, okay, I'm cool on you guys, right? Like you had an opportunity. Why would you let Lamar Jackson get into his 5th year? What other quarterback that has won an MVP and has done what Lamar Jackson has done for an organization plays in their 5th year of a contract?
Well,
Tell me one.
When Deshaun Watson got that deal from the Browns, I see you want to compare these two careers?
It's not even about that deal. It's about the fact that before that even happened, you allowed Lamar Jackson, who had won an MVP in his second year, to make it to his fifth year. What are you doing as an organization? What other quarterback has made it to the fifth year? No, nobody.
That has won an MVP award? None.
Nobody.
That's for sure.
So that is your fault. So what happened is you allowed this to happen. Deshaun Watson signs his deal, and now you're in a situation where, you got to pay for it.
Touchdown,
now you got to pay.
49ers. McCaffrey is in the end zone, and Brock Purdy showing some great pocket awareness there.
Elusive.
It was elusive. Just take a few steps. That's what Tom Brady does, right? You don't have to be the greatest athlete.
We're watching the next Tom Brady.
Watch this. So, all right, we're rolling on right now with this game, and we got so much more playoff action coming up around the NFL. Keep it here. This is Fox Football Saturday.
We are Fox Sports.
Hey, it's Jonas Knox. Time for new tires? Trust the experts at TireRack.com. They've been crushing it for over 40 years. Go to TireRack.com/sports. Tell them what you drive. Try their easy-to-use tire decision guide. They'll show you the right tires for how, what, and where you drive. They've got the full line of Sumitomo tires, test results, tire ratings, and consumer reviews. Fast free shipping and free road hazard protection. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Some people get COVID and thought, well, that wasn't such a big deal. But you can get COVID again, and next time it could be worse, especially for those 50 and older, or with a chronic condition like heart disease or diabetes. But with an updated vaccine, you have better protection from COVID's worst outcomes, and that's a big deal. Find updated COVID vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
I bet you folks are glad to be done with your shopping. Hopefully, all your gifts went well. But there's one last store to visit, this time just for yourself. Your chance to get one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony TVs at a crazy low price. Where? At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. A great way to end the year. If you don't check out these deals at Video Only, you'll be sorry.
Johnny Mosley here with the Saturday Toyota Tahoe Report. You're not going to want to miss this one at Palisades. It's going off up here. So grab your POW boards, jump in your Toyota, and get ready for some face shots.
Thanks, Johnny. More snow expected today around Lake Tahoe. Temperatures will remain cold with a high of 35 degrees. We could see 3 to 7 inches of snow during the day with another 6 to 10 inches overnight. This report has been brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Check out Toyota's full lineup of mountain-ready all-wheel drive vehicles. Toyota, let's go places.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you that money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types qualify, including those who took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help your business too. Just go to GetRefunds.com and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at TreatCovid.
And obviously, we all know the contract situation where he doesn't have money after this year, for goodness sake. He played at the beginning of this year. He's always kind of been that type of guy that just wants to go out there and play. And Rob, we said it before, I know I have, that I thought Lamar was not really like paying enough attention to his contract. I mean, we didn't know everything that was going on behind the scenes, but it just seemed like he was very nonchalant about it and not focusing on it like he should have been, in my opinion. And so I don't think money's going to hold him back. Rob, there's some people that think if the Ravens franchise him that he might not play. I don't see that. I think he would play on the franchise tag.
This is The Odd Couple with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker. Weekdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio.
Make the Babaganoo!
Ben Maller has a way with words.
I've got battery salesman, action figure, and Juicy Lucy.
He has all the ingredients for the Babaganoosh.
Oh my God, no!
And Ben Maller is the king of the late nights.
And we're going to make the Babaganoosh. We're going to make the Babaganoosh.
This is the Ben Maller Show. And you can hear him right here. Weeknights, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio. FS1. To find FS1 on your television, go to foxsports.com for details. FS1.
Test.
1. And here's what you need to know.
With Brock Purdy, this Niners offense looking really good so far in their NFC wildcard game against the Seahawks.
Now they move Debo in jet sweep motion underneath. It's an inside play action by Purdy. Cox to throw. Now going to roll out to his right. Wide open, McCaffrey. Touchdown! San Francisco!
That would be the Niners Radio Network, 49ers Radio Network. It is 10-0 here. San Fran still against Seattle with 3:41 left in the first quarter. There has been rain that has entered the picture here. Thunderstorms could be a factor later on as well. And Purdy, his numbers, 3 of 6 through the air, 40 yards. And Geno Smith, the starting quarterback for Seattle, 3 of 4 as far as completions. He was sacked once. Coming up at 8:15 Eastern, it's AFC wildcard play with the Chargers visiting the Jaguars. And Mike Williams, the Charger wide receiver, is out. I'm Brian Fenley.
This is Fox Football Saturday. You're listening to Fox Football Saturday, and this is the second half of the best football coverage on the radio.
The big guy's going to take it to the house.
From the plays to post-game, your football teams are repped here. Fox Football Saturday is now.
Ready? Go!
Live from the TireRack.com studios of Fox Sports Radio, here's Steve Hartman and 13-year NFL veteran Ephraim Salah.
Well, the NFL playoffs are officially underway, and once again, we are broadcasting live from the TireRack.com studios, TireRack.com. We're going to help get you there. An unmatched selection, fast free shipping, free road hazard protection, over 10,000 recommended installers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. So early on, this game between the 49ers and Seahawks is playing out as most people thought it would. Brock Purdy, 3 of 6, 40 yards, and a touchdown pass. Christian McCaffrey, he has 1 carry for 68 yards. He's averaging 68 yards a carry, Ephraim Salam. That's a pretty good average.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Not bad. And they also caught a 3-yard touchdown pass. Geno Smith, 3 of 4, 23 yards. The running game not really there yet for Seattle. They have the ball right now, and they need to get something on the board quickly. We have 6 wildcard games this weekend around the National Football League. There were some interesting stats that came out of this NFL season. One, a little bit surprising, is that the overall ratings were down ever so slightly, but a lot of that had to do with that Thursday night football situation, where all of a sudden if you don't have it, you don't get it, right? I mean, Thursday night football was at Amazon Prime, and if you don't have the Amazon Prime, you're not going to see it like you did in the past. But just the overall health of this league continues to thrive. No question about that. The NFL is as strong as ever, and what they did to the NBA on Christmas Day was proof positive that there is the NFL and there is everyone else. One thing interesting to me, though, Ephraim, because as we sit here on Saturdays talking a lot of college football, remember we were talking about how name, image, and likeness was going to result in a lot of guys staying in school?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening right now.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, this doesn't hurt the NFL because the Bryce Youngs, the CJ Strouds, those elite aren't going to come out because they're going to get their money. But it does give you an opportunity sometimes with, those guys that marginal. They get another year under their belts. You got like Sam Hartman going to Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
You got these quarterbacks. Bo Nick's going to stay an extra year at Oregon. They're going to get paid, and they're going to get another year's experience. And maybe second time around, the NFL says, wait a second. He's got something there. This is actually working. I wasn't sure if this was going to work for the NFL. I think it's going to work big time for the NFL because the super talent, the early guys, the Will Anderson, these guys are always going to come out early.
Yeah.
But some of these other guys getting an extra year experience in the collegiate level only helps them.
Well, it's great because you get to actually progress.
Right.
You get to, how many times have we seen, even before the NIL and all of that, we saw guys transfer and become Russell Wilson.
Yep.
We saw guys transfer and become, Baker Mayfield. We saw guys transfer, right? Like, so that is a help. That's a help not only to the athlete, but to the universities and as well as the NFL, because now you're allowing guys to really develop. Guys are older coming out. Guys have played a lot of football. Guys have been in different systems, picked them up well, succeeded, right? There will be no Jalen Hurts, right? Like these types of situations I think are great. And especially for dynamic talent who are at Division II or smaller D1 schools, when they transfer to Alabama or a San Diego State or Miami or something like that, and be on that stage after having success at a lower tier, I think that widens the eyes and the scope of how pro teams are viewing them.
I don't think there's any question that experience matters. Brock Purdy would not be doing what he would do with the 49ers right now had he not been a 4-year starter at Iowa State.
Absolutely not.
He had that kind of experience, 4 years in a Power 5 conference. We've seen it time and again. I mean, how valuable was 4 full years for Peyton Manning at Tennessee?
Mm-hmm.
He could have opted out after his junior year. Even Trevor Lawrence, 3 full years at Clemson as a starting quarterback, invaluable experience. So I wasn't sure how this was all going to play out, but now that I'm looking at it, again, the Bryce Youngs, the CJ Strouds, the superstars that are going to be top picks in the draft, they're going to come out as soon as they can, and they should. But for some of these other guys that are marginal guys staring at 4th, 5th, or later in the draft, why not stay an extra year? I promise you this, Sam Hartman is going to make more money as the quarterback at Notre Dame than he would have as a 6th or 7th round pick in the NFL.
That is true. I can promise you that.
So that's a good deal there. All right, so 10-0, 49ers are leading the Seahawks. I want to get into this game that's coming up a little bit later on today. Chargers on the road against the Jaguars, and let's go back to the Chargers' final game against the Denver Broncos. So the Ravens were playing the Bengals. Ravens lost the game. It was earlier in the day, and when the Ravens lost, that meant the Chargers were locked into the 5 seed. Win or lose against Denver, it did not matter. They were going to be locked into the 5 seed, and they were going to go on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, Rich Orenberger and I were sitting here, and I said to him, what are we going to see? I mean, you're going to sit everybody? The Giants sat everybody. You remember, they didn't play Daniel Jones, no Saquon Barkley. They rested everybody up. And especially for a Charger team that had so many injuries this year, finally getting guys healthy, including, with all due respect to Keenan Allen, their biggest threat as a wide receiver, Mike Williams, literally biggest threat. And there was Mike Williams out on the field. And there was Justin Herbert with bad ribs on the field taking hits. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on here? We're in the 4th quarter. And Justin Herbert is still in the game. A game they're losing, by the way, at that point. Well, as it turned out, Mike Williams, after the game, Brandon Staley, the coach, said, yeah, he might have tweaked his back a little bit. He'll be fine. By the end of the week, fractured back. He's out. And believe me, this team was 2-4 this year in games that Mike Williams did not play. He is a difference maker.
Personally, go ahead. You can finish.
Well, I just want to ask you this question now. And this game against the Jaguars, at best for the Chargers, is a toss-up. You got to travel to Jacksonville. Jacksonville blew out the Chargers earlier this year at 38-10. This is a Jags team's feeling pretty good about themselves right now.
I don't think it's a toss-up, personally.
You like the Jags a lot in this game?
I like the Jags.
All right, so if the Chargers go into Jacksonville, by the way, the Chargers are listed as 1.5 favorites, and I'm not sure why. But if Justin Herbert can't overcome the injury to Mike Williams, if they lay an egg and lose this game to Jacksonville, if you're the management of the Chargers, are you taking a long look at your head coach and questioning his ability to make the right calls as a head coach?
I would fire Brandon Staley before the playoff game. That's how egregious that was. He's shown throughout his time in L.A. that he is terrible with decision making. From leaving points on the field, going forward on fourth down, it just is a mess. And now he's put his team in a situation to where they're not going into the playoffs healthy and focused and ready to go. You have a star quarterback, star receivers, defensive juggernauts, and the thing that's not clicking on all cylinders is the head coach. It is difficult to continue to play for someone who shows an ineptability to make the right decisions when need be. And I think that's what Brandon Staley is. No matter what happens in this game, I believe he'll be fired when the Chargers season comes to an end unless they win the Super Bowl.
Well, I'll put it this way. First of all, if they do fire him, it would be very un-Charger-like, because the ownership of the Chargers has never shown any real desire to do whatever it takes to win a championship. Any success they have almost seems by accident. I don't think a lot of people thought that Justin Herbert was going to be this kind of a quarterback coming into the NFL, where he's setting records right out of the box. Remember, it was like it's Tua or Herbert. Every time he was at Oregon, it seems like they downplayed his ability. So any success that the Chargers have had under this ownership group is almost by accident. So, because if you look at who's out there, you don't think Sean Payton would jump over?
Oh, amazing.
I mean, where do I start?
Heartbeat.
You're going to hand me Herbert?
Yep.
And all that talent?
He'll take it.
In a heartbeat, right?
He'll take it.
You could have him.
And you have to know that that's on the table.
You have to know that.
Right?
You have to know that if you suddenly make this job available, you can get Sean Payton.
That's why I said I would have fired him before this game.
Right.
I'll let an interim coach, we'll see what we got, and then we starting the paperwork and the offer for Sean Payton, before the weekend's out. That's just me, though.
Well,
we've been hypercritical of Brandon Staley the entire season, so this isn't just coming out of left field for me.
We are hyper. They should have made the playoffs last year.
Yes, the cherry on exactly. That's exactly right. But the cherry on top for me was watching those guys playing a meaningless game, watching a key contributor, one of your top receiver this year, get hurt and not available. But not only that, you put this young man's career in jeopardy. All right, let's not talk about the game. Let's talk about he fractured his back. How about that? That's the part that I'm bothered with.
Did you hear him on the post game? He had some kind of cockamamie excuse. Well, we only have 48 players, and
yeah, that was ridiculous.
Well, I mean, like, first of all,
once again,
anybody that's had injuries, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, your quarterback who still has bad ribs, take them out. You can play other guys out there if they're healthy. I get it. You have to still play the game, but you're not going to jeopardize any of your prime players. I agree with you. But again, this is a test of this ownership. Charger ownership. Are you into winning championships? Does it matter? You got a free ticket at SoFi. You don't pay any rent. You're riding the coattails here. Do you have any real commitment to winning a championship? I say that as a plea for my son, who's a diehard Charger fan. All right, here we go. The Seahawks have a 3rd and 1 right now. They've gotten a first down, so the Seahawks are inside the 49ers' 10-yard line. We're into the second quarter now, and the 49ers lead this one by a score of 10-0. All right, there's other quarterback controversies looming around the National Football League. Many of them could have a major impact on the upcoming NFL draft. We'll explain coming up next.
3, 2, 1, go!
Here's Fox Sports Radio, your home for the NFL playoffs.
Here we go!
Yeah! The regular season is done. Now is the time for the big boys to lay it all on the line.
Let's go now!
The NFL playoffs are in your face, and we'll be locked in on every game. We're Fox Sports Radio.
For wild card round action, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is the place to go. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all customers can get a no-sweat bet each day of the wild card round this weekend. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code UPONGAME. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly. That's code UPONGAME, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario and Ohio. Bonus issued as free bets. One free bet issued based on amount of initial losing NFL bet up to $10. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Eligibility and terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms.
Bonus days are back for pros at Lowe's. You earn points and save when you buy the top pro brands you trust, like DeWalt. Right now, you can save $100 on the powerful DeWalt 8¼ carbide tipped portable table saw. Was $399, now just $299. Join today and shop bonus days, only at Lowe's. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 1/20. Subject to change while supplies last. Visit Lowes.com/MVPs bonus points for details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $38.99. Go farther with better fuel efficiency. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
When you open up a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van, you're unlocking potential. The potential to do your own thing. Be your own boss. Steer your own success. Blaze your own trail. Each and every Sprinter van built, designed, and equipped to let you hit the open road and take on any goal. To help you follow your passions, reawaken that spirit of adventure, check all of those big, bold, exciting experiences off your bucket list. Owning a Sprinter van lets you live, work, and play out your dreams wherever they take you. 16 body types, a choice of gas or diesel engine, thousands of ways to customize. It's capable and versatile enough to help drive your ambitions. And now you could win your own Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van customized by Gretsch RV by entering the Dan Patrick Show's Ultimate Fan Van Sweepstakes. To enter, get official rules, visit danpatrick.com for your chance to win the Sprinter van. So go ahead, now's the time. Unlock your potential inside a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van.
At the UPS Store, we know this upcoming holiday is when things can get busy for small business owners.
Exactly. My to-do list and I don't take days off.
That's why you can count on us to be open and ready to help with every small business need, whether it's packing and shipping or if it's just to check your mailbox.
That's almost everything on my to-do list. My list and I can take the day off.
Your local, the everything to help you be unstoppable store. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. The UPS Store locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, These factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Boy, am I glad to be done with my holiday shopping.
Oh, I know.
And now I just want to relax.
Me too. Well, except there's one more store we should check out.
Oh, no way.
Because this week, we can get a Samsung, LG, or Sony TV at an incredible price.
Really? Where?
At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. They're really cutting deals.
Because the holidays are over?
Yep. So this is our chance to get what we wanted for Christmas.
Are the prices really that good?
Yes. For 7 days they are. And Video Only has those top-rated models we were thinking about all on sale.
All right. The best stuff cheap is worth a trip.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
Come into Friedman's Appliance and see the full line of Fisher & Paykel appliances. Experience them in person in live vignettes, including their famous dish drawer dishwasher and unique sizes of refrigeration designed to fit seamlessly into your kitchen space. Fisher & Paykel products deliver perfect results with exceptional design and performance. And for a limited time, receive up to a $2,000 rebate when you purchase a qualifying Fisher & Paykel kitchen package from Friedman's Appliance. Visit Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill or online at friedmansappliance.com.
From the beginning, AmeriWest Credit Union was created to provide a brighter financial future for you. We work hard for our members because they're our greatest strength.
AmeriWest worked for me when I needed an auto loan for my first car.
When I need to make a mobile payment, AmeriWest works for me.
Put our premier savings account to work for you, now paying up to 25 times the national average. AmeriWest Credit Union, working for you today, tomorrow, together.
UCSF Sports Medicine Center is dedicated to treating every type of athlete, from kids to adults, amateurs to elite professionals. As one of the best orthopedic programs in the nation, UCSF has programs to optimize an athlete's performance and the latest advancements to treat the most complex sports injuries. With locations throughout the Bay Area, now including Marin, Walnut Creek, and Redwood Shores, it's even easier to make an appointment today. Visit ucsfhealth.org so you can get cleared to play. UCSF Health, redefining possible.
When back to the office means back in traffic.
We unfortunately have a really bad situation going on in Hayward.
You can rely on your Northern California Honda Dealers Traffic Center.
Traffic is still jammed from Whipple, but I can see it starting to improve now that you have...
From your traffic leader, KCBS.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Resolve to recycle more. Recycle paper, bottles, and cans directly, and recycle old clothes by donating them. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
hello,
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Let me guess. Unknown caller? You could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection. The latest innovation from Discover will help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And we'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection.
Each other well.
That's the point. In other words, yeah, you could say, well, the 49ers know. Well, Seattle knows the 49ers. It's not like Kyle Shanahan and Pete Carroll are strangers.
No, not at all. But it's making for a great game. Nobody wanted to see a 9-point blowout. Like, you want to see, when it comes to playoffs, you want to be invested in the entire game. You don't want to be like, I'm going to turn this off or go do this, or I'll watch some basketball. You want to be captivated. And I think that's what we have here.
Quarterback talk. There's always a lot of quarterback talk. And with the NFL draft coming up, what made things interesting, by the way, I didn't even ask you about the firing of Lovie Smith. What did you think about that by the Texans after, I guess he did the wrong thing by winning that last game? Sort of on a miracle play against the lowly Colts. And after the game, Lovey was asked about his future. He goes, I'm good. Less than an hour later, he was fired. Back-to-back one-and-dones for the Houston Texans. How fair, unfair was that to Lovey?
Well, I believe that he knew what was about to happen. And that's why he won that game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was, his
thumbs. Give him the finger
he's
right there.
Thumbing his nose to the he tried everything in his ability to get rid of that number one pick of the draft for the Houston Texans. Because once man, we have a term we use in the NFL, the writing's on the wall. And so he knew what was going to happen. And, and Lovey's a great guy. I like Lovey Smith as a coach.
Well, I mean,
he got handed a raw deal.
Yeah. But nobody else wanted that job.
Nobody wanted the job. And they had to do something. And so all of the scrutiny that they were under and the backlash that they had to do something. They brought Lovey in. They don't nearly have the talent there. So they got to make some decisions. They got to, this second pick in the draft is not going to fix all of the problems and the holes they have in that organization. I mean, the owner's name is Cowboy Cal. So, there's that situation. Hard to take that serious. And I was a Texan for 5 years. So, it's one of those situations where it's like they got a lot to do, starting from the top down. And whoever they do bring in there, man, whatever coach that they brought in, you have to guarantee me 5 years. Like I can't, similar what Kyle Shanahan and, John Lynch did in San Francisco. No matter what happens, you guarantee us 5 years. You won't make any decisions on our jobs for 5 years because it was a rebuild. We have to do a lot of heavy lifting. And that would be my sentiment if I was going in to take that job in Houston. No matter what happens, I get 5 years.
What's interesting about this year's draft is the top four picks. So the Bears have the number one overall pick, followed by the Texans, the Cardinals, and the Colts. So you have two teams, and I'm going to ask you this, two teams that are set with their franchise quarterbacks, Bears with Fields, Murray with the Cardinals. Are they set with those two quarterbacks? Because you got, obviously, Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud coming on this draft. Now, we don't know. Obviously, you never know. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks can't miss.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the question is, if you're the Bears, if you're the Cardinals obviously going to have a new coach.
Yeah.
Are you set with those quarterbacks?
I think, for Arizona, you have to be. You picked, right? You picked Kyler Murray. So over Cliff Kingsbury. So, yeah, you're set there. And for Chicago, I hope Chicago realizes that it's not Justin Fields' fault what happened there. That offensive line was atrocious. It's just no weapons on the outside. You put in a young kid in a situation where there's no stability, different coaches, different philosophies every year. He hadn't had a time to progress, to mature, so to speak. And so I think both of those teams stay with those quarterbacks.
Well, that would then raise this question. So there are some rumors flying out there that the Indianapolis Colts, sitting at number 4, are in discussion with the Bears to move up to number 1, which would then give the Colts a choice between Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. Now the question is there a big difference between those two guys? If you had to settle for the second one, when you look at Bryce Young, and you and I have seen plenty of Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud over the last couple of years, do you see any major difference where you say it is worth it for us to move up? So obviously the Bears dropped to 4. It wouldn't affect the Bears because it looks like the Cardinals are set on taking Will Anderson, and the Bears really covet Jalen Carter, the big defensive lineman out of Georgia, and they would probably get him at number 4. But if you're the Colts, you would obviously have to give up more, second-round pick, whatever it takes to move up into that number 1 slot. Would that be worth it? Is there a major difference in, let's say, selecting Bryce Young as opposed to settling for C.J. Stroud?
I think for it really depends on what you're trying to do. Now, Bryce Young is short.
Right.
Okay. Now, I'm not saying that, him being short is going to dictate his success in the NFL. But what I am saying is, it hasn't been a lot of short guys have ultimate success.
Right. We mentioned Kyler Murray, obviously Russell Wilson,
Kyler
Drew Brees.
Murray hasn't had ultimate success.
Drew Brees did.
Drew Brees is the outlier.
Right.
So do you draft someone expecting them to be the outlier?
Well, you have to admit the situation in Indianapolis from a personnel standpoint is dramatically different than the Houston Texans.
Yes.
I mean, whatever happened to Colts this year, let's put... Does Jeff Saturday, by the way, now wear the mantle as the worst head coach in the history of the National Football League?
Of course, but you knew that was going to happen.
Well, not everyone knew that. Obviously, they wouldn't have hired him. They thought it would be that bad.
I mean, come on, man. They couldn't possibly have thought that was a good idea and that would have turned out great. I mean, it's no way you make that choice and it's like, yeah, this fits. What?
I mean, really. I mean, he's got the worst collapse in a single game in history. Losing that last game the way they did.
Come on, man.
That was a perfect capper.
That's
for
what
Jeff
happens
Saturday.
when you bring a guy from the couch who's had no high-level coaching experience and ask him to coach an NFL team against other NFL coaches. What?
Unbelievable. I to be honest with you, I don't see a great deal of difference. C.J. Stroud, after what he did to Georgia, especially after you then watch that same Georgia team do what they did to TCU, now all of a sudden you look at Ohio State like, wow, he really was good. I don't see a difference. If I were the Colts, I would stick right there at number 4. Let the Bears take Carter number 1. Bryce Young goes to the Texans. Will Anderson ends up with the Cardinals. I'll settle for C.J. Stroud. Believe me, I think the Colts will be in a pretty good shape with him. All right, let's find out what's trending right now as we welcome back the one, the only, Mr. Brian Fenley. B. Fenny, you been watching this game here?
Oh, yes, and a chance there to get another touchdown for the San Francisco 49ers, but they are prevented from getting into the end zone. So a second Robbie Gould field goal makes it 13-7 49ers against the Seahawks here in this NFC wildcard game in Santa Clara, where it appears like the sun is trying to make its presence felt. You can see
I see it.
You see it trying to fight through the clouds right there. This is good news considering that there were thunderstorms in the forecast and obviously rain earlier in the game and before the game as well. And again, 6:50 left in the second quarter. As far as what Brock Purdy has done, 6 of 10 through the air, 91 yards in that one score, which on the receiving end was Christian McCaffrey. And Kenneth Walker III with his first NFL playoff touchdown run. That was of 7 yards earlier. He has 9 rushes, 41 yards, and 1 score. Coming up later on tonight, it's 8:15 Eastern. It's AFC wildcard action with the Jaguars hosting the Chargers. LA wide receiver Mike Williams will not be in uniform and will not be on the field because he's dealing with a back injury. Initially was ruled questionable. Now they're saying he has no chance of seeing the field. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin, less than 2 weeks removed from suffering cardiac arrest, showed up to the team facility today for the first time. He was warmly welcomed by his teammates. They posted videos and photos on social media, shaking hands, dapping up his teammates, and it was a very special and touching moment. Fox's Peter Schrager is reporting former Arizona Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury has been turning down all sorts of different offers from NFL teams to be their next offensive coordinator, saying that right now all he wants to do, and what he is doing, is getting on a plane and has a one-way ticket to Thailand. What he does there, who knows? As far as what's happening in college basketball, we do have a couple notable games. Some upsets: Kentucky over number 5 Tennessee, 63-56. Indiana finds a way as they maneuver number 18 Wisconsin, 63-45. Number 17 TCU flushes down number 11 Kansas State, 82-68. And we do have, not that it's a whole big of a deal, just considering that we have the NFL going on right now, but a little bit of NFL is happening, and DK Metcalf running in a touchdown here, as that's going to make it interesting with the pending extra point. It's 13-3 here with it all being tied up with 5:01 to go in the second quarter. Let's do this. Let's get it back to Ephraim and Steve, and an extra point coming up here for the Seahawks, and they have a chance to take a lead.
All right, well, we were talking about this, Brian. I was talking to Ephraim, like you're playing a team for the third time. It's not like Seattle's void of talent. Metcalf is a beast, and he beat his man, and he's in the end zone for a touchdown. So the extra point gives the Seahawks, as we're waiting on the extra point right now, and it is good. So the Seahawks lead the 49ers by a score of 14-13, 5 minutes to go in the first half. We've been talking about the future of the 49ers. What if they lose this game?
Oof. Be
what if they lose? What if Brock Purdy struggles in the second? Because the one thing that everyone said, what happens to Brock Purdy? Because most of these games that he's been in, they've had leads, right? And they built on those leads. And what happens if he's in a playoff situation, they're down 10 in the fourth quarter, and he needs to make plays, and he's incapable of doing that? Do we just shut the door on Brock Purdy and go back to square one? All of a sudden, is the Tom Brady's of San Francisco back in the fold? Is Jimmy Garoppolo returning to the 49ers in fold? Is another opportunity for Trey Lance back on the table? It's amazing how the outcome of one game could have a major impact on the future decisions of a franchise.
Yeah, I think, that the game against the Raiders where Brock Purdy had to come back and then they had won it in overtime, I think that gave San Francisco, the coaching staff, the team, a sense that Brock Purdy, the moment's not too big for Brock Purdy. But we all know playoff makes career, especially for quarterbacks. Playoff makes career, man.
Tom Brady made his career on the postseason.
Yes.
And remember, the Tom Brady that won those first 3 Super Bowls was a far cry from the guy that won 3 Super Bowls later.
Yeah.
He was more of a
game manager,
passenger
defense,
on a luxury liner,
game,
don't make any stupid mistakes type of quarterback.
Right.
He wasn't getting all pro votes in those days, but they were winning. And then as he continued to develop his game, obviously, he became the quarterback that he is. All right, so Brock Purdy right now, the 49ers trailing the Seahawks by a score of 14-13, 5 minutes ago here in the first half. By the way, Geno Smith in this game, 8 of 9, 97 yards, a touchdown, no picks. That's a passer rating of 148.6. He's going nowhere. The only question is, will he sign a long-term deal with the Seahawks, or is he going to get franchise tag? Because the Seahawks have made it clear he is going nowhere. By the way, I also wanted to ask you about another guy, Sean McVay. His decision to stay with the Rams, was it because he feels like unfinished business, and after a year of a ton of injuries, and by the way, Matthew Stafford's going nowhere, we're going to get it together? Or was it all those lucrative TV offers that were on the table last year dried up, and he had no alternative to compensate for what he's getting paid by the Rams with a higher paying job as a broadcaster?
No, I think those deals were still there. I know we're about to lose Sean Payton back to the NFL. So those deals were there. I think when Matthew Stafford decided to come back, Sean McVay, I think him and Matthew had a conversation, and both making those decisions were tied to each other. I really do. I don't think Matthew Stafford signed up to come there to be coached by anybody else.
Well, another guy is Aaron Donald, who basically has told people, my future in this league is tied to Sean McVay.
Yep.
If Sean McVay's here, I stay with the Rams. Otherwise, I'm done.
Yeah, I think, and I understand. I get that. It's a lot of money for all three of those players.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Donald's $50 million, Matthew Stafford $63 million, and then, Sean McVay's making a handsome sum as well. And, those are your three main entities on that team. Your best offensive player, the second best offensive player, your best defensive player, and your head coach.
We don't even know. Have you ever been bothered by this as a player? I mean, what other profession outside of being a professional athlete is your salary splashed over everybody? Like, everyone knows exactly what you're making.
Yeah.
It's public knowledge. Mm-hmm. And yet we have no public knowledge of how much the coaches are making. We can only guess.
Right.
When we hear what coaches are making in the NFL, these are guesstimates. There's no actual hard evidence that so-and-so. The fact that Sean McVay ends the season saying, well, I need a little time here to contemplate my future, was that his way of forcing management to put a little more money in the pot to make sure that he stays in as the coach of the Rams?
I don't think so, because I believe they just re-upped him.
Sure, but maybe he wants to.
I don't know.
He got married,
Yeah, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was the reason. He was talking about, stepping away from the game and all of that and yada, yada, yada. And then he got re-upped just like Aaron Donald got re-upped. And, the difference is that his salary doesn't count against the cap. So, owners can pay coaches whatever they want.
We got a momentum shift in this game. The 49ers just went 3 and out. They had 2 yards on that last drive, so they just punted the ball back to Seattle. They have the ball deep in their own territory, but they have the ball in the lead right now. And this is why we keep talking about if suddenly they're down 10, if they get down a couple of scores,
yeah, it's
you lose, you go home. Wow. I really want to get your thoughts. Tom Brady, literally, even though his Buccaneers are still in the playoffs, by the way, only the 4th team ever with a losing record to get into the playoffs. No one's talking about him in Tampa. All he is hearing is, which team are you going to play for next? But we're going to find out a little bit more on what we've heard. Keep it right here. This is Fox Football Saturday.
Your NFL playoffs.
Fires for the end zone. The pass is going to be caught. Touchdown!
I like my beat down low, down low.
From the AFC to the NFC.
Pick 6. First touchdown of his career.
It's the coverage you count on. Right here on Fox Sports Radio.
Some people got COVID and thought, well, that wasn't such a big deal. But you can get COVID again, and next time it could be worse, especially for those 50 and older, or with a chronic condition like heart disease or diabetes. But with an updated vaccine, you have better protection from COVID's worst outcomes. And that's a big deal. Find updated COVID vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell San Francisco area attorneys. 650-389-1111. Online at CordellCordell.com. 951 Mariners Island Boulevard, Suite 300, San Mateo, California, 94404.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cards for Kids.
KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
With car prices at an all-time high, our donors are now getting highest receipts ever. Donate at carsforkids.org, and your car can be picked up tomorrow.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Are boomers more cringy than millennials? Is Gen Z more woke than Gen X? Is there any hope of bridging our generational divides? Odyssey's new podcast, It's Generational, brings together actual people from these 4 generations for real conversations about today's issues. I'm Lauren Barry, and I'm inviting you to join our mission to dump stereotypes in the trash and really understand each other.
I think these conversations just foretell such a better, richer emotional vocabulary for talking about these things.
Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's Thursday night and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese.
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Switch on.
Let's go. This is who we are.
Our business is sports. We're going to do our thing.
We're your friend.
Yes!
We're that pain in the butt.
Oh!
We're the one that makes you think.
So the speculation is...
And we're the reason why you take